in Manhattan, Kansas. A big-time college football program. The parking lot full early with tailgaters, and then a sea of purple inside, all because of the revival of the football fortunes of the Kansas State Wildcats. The Big 12 conference standings. Kansas State unbeaten. Kansas with a win today over Oklahoma in the North Division. And now Nebraska chasing the leaders. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. With the coach Dick Vermeil, I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to have you along with us. Let's take a look at the quarterback matchup today. Scott Frost, he's the young man at Nebraska who was beaten by Arizona State, came back against Colorado State. Brian Cavanaugh of Kansas State. He's trying to do something that no Kansas State quarterback has done since the late 60s, and then it was a man by the name of Lynn Dickey, and that is beat Nebraska. So, Dick, what about the matchup of QBs here?
Well, Brian Cavanaugh has been a backup here for 3 years. He's a fifth-year senior. He's a bright guy. He hasn't faced the defense like he's going to face today, though, Brandon. If I were coaching him, I'd have one concern, maybe a little lack of mobility against the Nebraska pass rush. Now, Frost, hey, last year at this time, he was a scout team quarterback at Nebraska, just having transferred from Stanford. Very, very talented athlete. Struggled a little bit early, getting better. All he needs is time. He's a gifted athlete.
On the defensive side of the ball, some good ones. Chris Canty, number 2, one of the best cornerbacks. And then number 2 will slip over to the K-State offense, and Cavanaugh will attempt to hit him. But Cavanaugh will not have much time because of 2 of the finest defensive ends in the land. Jared Tomich on the left, Grant Wistrom on the right. And yes, Tomich, he was the barber last night. The ritual, they shaved their heads again. And Dick, this is some defensive unit. They will be taking on the Wildcats, who are set here to pour onto the field in Manhattan, Kansas, with coach Bill Snyder having done a wonderful job of turning this team around.
No question. And those 2 defensive ends are as good a pair as there are in the country, Ben. And from an offensive standpoint, you have to start all your thinking, all your game plan preparation is how can we block these guys passing and running the football. You better not single them up because they'll get to the quarterback.
The coaching matchup is something, a legend. And he's matched against a man who is attempting to become.
In Kansas, where the Kansas State University Wildcats are ready to tee it up. Now, this should be a time of happiness and enthusiasm on the Kansas State University, but it really isn't. There's a dark cloud over the football program. You see 59-year-old Bob Cope, the co-defensive coordinator, discovered last week that he was diagnosed with cancer. He announced it to the team on Tuesday, checked into a local hospital, and slipped into a coma by Wednesday. Now, the coaching staff points out the resiliency of youth should protect the football team from concentrating or focusing on Cope's misfortune. But the same cannot be said for the coaching staff, as their thoughts are directed towards Cope's family. One big change today, Brent Musburger, young Mike Stoops will not be able to rely on Bob Cope's intuitive nature and years of experience on the sidelines to motivate the defensive team.
Jack, thank you very much. Kansas State won the toss. They have elected to receive. Chris Brown kicking it off for the Huskers. We're underway in Manhattan, and a booming kickoff means that Kansas State will bring it out on the 20-yard line. Brian Cavanaugh, the 6'3" senior from Naperville, Illinois. Quarterbacks the Wildcats. 1 interception in his last 98 attempts. He has been that efficient. Chili's backs and receivers features one of the better receivers in the Big 12, number 83, Kevin Lockett. The offensive line is a big one, averaging about 300 pounds a man. Jeremy Martin steps in, however, today for the first half. Ross Greenwood must sit it out because of a suspension for fighting in the game against Rice. That came in the second half. Cavanaugh will audible all day long, split backs on first down, and now Nebraska elects to change up after the audible. Stand up tight end, movement from the defense, and Cavanaugh takes the snap and steps right ahead, and that may have been defense unless they were pulled by the left side of the offensive line. We will allow referee Steve Juszczyk to sort it all out here and tell you what the situation is before we meet the defense of the Huskers.
Outside. Defense.
Now this defense jumped. There is the front four, eager to get it on. Terrell Farley, suspended for 2 games, played last week against Colorado State, moves back into the starting lineup. He played extremely well against K-State a year ago. And back in that defensive backfield, Ralph Brown has stood the test of every quarterback he has faced. Jake Plummer went right out after him. That, of course, as Arizona State upset the Huskers early. A blitz, Kavanaugh hit at the 20-yard line, and so Coach McBride comes with Terrell Farley, and he's successful with the blitz. John Saunders, I would say that Northwestern is for real, partner.
Well, Brent, as a guy who went there, I'd have to agree with you. I know you're the old alum, and you're looking at your team doing very well the last couple of years. 16-0, they trailed after 3, but Brian Goins' 39-yard field goal with 13 seconds left wins it for Northwestern. 17 unanswered points in the 4th. Last year, they got 10 unanswered in the 4th. Back to you, Brent.
John, thank you very much. Is this the day of the Wildcat? Kansas State hopes so. 2nd and 9 after the sack by Farley, and again Kavanaugh calling the play at the line, but Nebraska's moving. Nebraska's moving after the audible. Kavanaugh had signaled out, and the left cornerback dropped back, so Kavanaugh called a time, and he wants to talk to Coach Snyder. This is what McBride did so successfully against Florida coach Steve Spurrier down in the Fiesta Bowl when they won the national championship, and it's confusing the quarterback. Dick?
No question. Now, Dana Dimmel and Ron Hudson, the offensive coordinators for Kansas State, plan to package your offense and use it and call it on the line of scrimmage based on what they see, both in the running game and passing game. And, you know, sometimes that works, and sometimes you're trying to mastermind the game on the line of scrimmage, it hurts you.
Let's go down to Jackaroo. Jack?
Well, Brent, you know the Kansas State Wildcats are coming off of a bye week, and Coach Bill Snyder said they really needed that bye week to get mentally prepared for Nebraska. But it really wasn't the same sentiment that was expressed by most of the team. They felt that they wanted to maintain that continuity, that momentum. Some of the players said, hey, when you have a bye week, you don't know what to do on Saturday. One other point to remember, guys, Nebraska came off a bye week, and they got whooped by Arizona State.
You cannot say enough about what this man has accomplished here in Manhattan. I know that John Saunders and Dick Vermeil and a lot of us brag about Northwestern. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that doing the job in Manhattan, Kansas is a whole lot different than doing it in a suburb of Chicago. This is one of the greatest coaching jobs in the history of college football. And I don't care what happens today. That does not detract from that. 2nd down and 9 now, and Kavanaugh will call that play at the line of scrimmage.
But you see, defensively, they move after the audible.
They run Lawrence.
Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator, will move as soon as he understands what they're doing from an offensive standpoint. He'll start moving and changing defenses. He'll sugarcoat it. He'll show them one front and move to a different front. He'll show them one coverage and he'll slide to a different coverage. It's going to be a cat and mouse game here.
Third down and 8. Two wide receivers and a tight end. Time, sideline, and his big play wide receiver, Kevin Lockett, cannot reach that one, so Kansas State must punt.
They're going to get the ball. They like the matchups of one-on-one throwing to Kevin Lockett. They're going to use maximum protection, keep a back end all the time, keep a tight end in a lot of time. If they have 2 backs in, they'll keep both running backs in, because most of the time Nebraska plays a man-to-man, and they like that matchup. They just did not throw the ball accurately that time.
James Garcia is the K-State punter. He's a good one. Mike Fullman. Not a good punt. Line drive. Scooped up by McFarland. That's Octavius McFarland. We hesitate as now the Nebraska quarterback comes out here to lead the offense, Scott Frost. And you can see what he has accomplished last week against Colorado State. The Chili's backs and receivers. Amon Green is the starting I-back. Damon Benning is not here. It means that D'Angelo Evans, who also wears number 4, will get to run behind this very talented line. 3 members were All-Conference a year ago. A short field for Frost. Amon Green with the first carry to the 44-yard line. Well, Dick, we watched the punter Garcia be very effective in practice, and then he comes out here and puts him in a quick hole. As we see now, the defensive front seven, Niall Weirin, number 44. Outstanding defensive end. As far as the linebackers are concerned, number 8, Deshaun Fogel, very active. And there is one of the better defensive backfields in all of college football. Second down and 7. Frost the draw. It's Green. Explodes into that defensive backfield. First down, Nebraska.
Well, Frank Solich, the running back coach and assistant head coach at Nebraska, told me this is a new play. They just put this play in out of the one back set. It's a quick draw with a full block by the center and guard. He gets right up through there. They haven't been able to defense that on the practice field. It works the first time they run it today. We'll probably see it again.
Ball is on the K-State 33-yard line. Another delay, and Green is cut off this time. Hit first at the 34-yard line, and that was Timmons.
Excellent job by the strong safety, Clyde Johnson, coming up and turning that back inside. Now, Mike Stoops, the defensive coordinator for the Wildcats, plans to play the safeties up close to get involved in stopping the option and take away the crack blocks. Now, when you do that, you're very susceptible to play-action passing in behind those safeties.
Lance Brown is the slot receiver on 2nd and 10. Frost will come to the short side of the field, an outstanding runner, and he's hit at the 29-yard line by Deshaun Fogel, number 8. He is a senior from here in Manhattan.
No, you can run the option both to the field and away from the field if you have tight ends that can block like Nebraska did. This time, the Nebraska tight end jumped around the outside, shut off the linebacker who's trying to run to the quarterback, and he forced the pitch. He couldn't get there because the tight end blocked him.
Third down and 5.
They will direct snap from this formation, too.
Frost incomplete. Green couldn't hang on, and he was being defended by Mark Simoneau, the linebacker, as Niall Weirin was applying the pressure.
Niall came hard outside on Eric Anderson and applied just enough pressure to make him throw the ball inaccurately. Now, the first couple ball games of the year, Scott Frost did not throw the ball accurately. Last week, he was 13 for 18, 72% complete. He's going to have to throw the ball like that this week.
Here's the 45-yard field goal attempt by Chris Brown.
Good leg, good leg.
Booms it up.
Wow.
Easily good. The Kansas breeze at his back. Nebraska leads K-State by a field goal out of the end zone, and the K-State punter punting into that wind. Garcia with difficulty giving Nebraska field position, and they kick a 3-pointer. Now let's watch the kick and see if Kansas State has any chance to return it. There's Canty back on the goal line. All-purpose for everything.
Well, they're the #1 kickoff return team in the country, man. They're going to return that one, though. What a leg. Of course, the wind is behind him. The wind is behind him, but he's still nailing it.
Coming out on the 20-yard line.
Charles McBride, the defensive coordinator, Nebraska, told me, he says they are so simple it's almost scary. He says, I run out of things to call, but we have good football players. We don't want to confuse them. And the other thing he said is they won't play the same defense against a repeated offensive formation today. They'll change up for the look each time.
Brian Goolsby is the fullback, but they call now Marlon Charles.
Woo! What contact made by that fullback that time. An excellent job of trying to block the linebacker. It broke down other places, but I'll tell you this, Brian Goolsby really got after that linebacker.
Mike Lawrence starts, and now Marlon Charles is in at running back. It is 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard run. Quick count. Charles tripped up. to the 26-yard line, and this will leave about 4 yards for the first down. Jason Peter, number 55, tripping him up.
Good job by Jason Peter. Jumped around Kendall Cox, the offensive right guard, and did an excellent job of getting upfield, yet maintaining enough balance that he can come back underneath and make the play on the draw.
Mike Lawrence brings the play in from the sideline. Kavanaugh back in the shotgun. They'll sometimes make an inside handoff from this look. Play is called, and now they'll shift it back and come up under center. Penalty flag down. Pass is broken up, intended for Lockett, but there is a penalty flag thrown by the linesman, who now reports to the referee.
The long time on the line of scrimmage calling the audibles really is affecting the defense concentration more than it's affecting the offense right
That's
now.
the second offside call as the result of that, Coach.
Right. Most of the time it goes the other way.
And that's good for a first down. So Coach Snyder and the Wildcats with their initial first down here, trailing by a field goal in the early going here in Manhattan.
Bill Snyder was concerned about the players controlling their emotion. He said last year they were totally emotionally ready to play, and then they got carried away emotionally within the ballgame. Today he wanted them to direct it toward helping them win and play better.
Goolsby and Charles in the backfield. The eye look for K-State.
See now they change the front on him.
Kavanaugh fires complete. This time Lockett's got it, and he has stepped in front of number 22, Ralph Brown, the defensive back on that side.
See, they're throwing the ball awfully quick, which helps.
And there's 37 consecutive games with a reception. Kansas State record. Soft hands Kevin Lockett has.
They're playing awfully tight bump and run coverage. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ron Hudson, the quarterback coach, go deep on these people early.
2nd and 5. Charles.
Boy, I tell you, the linebackers really filled. John Hesse did an excellent job of getting up there. He disrupted the play, and then the other linebacker just scraped in and made the play. They're going to have to throw the ball deep to get these people backed off a little bit, or maybe use some play action early downs and try to attack those safeties that are coming right up in there and presenting a 9-man front.
3rd down and 3. There's the audible. Booker backs off. After throwing the bump and run, he now slacks off from the receiver. Now he tightens back up late. But they're looking other side, deflected, incomplete, and K-State will punt.
If it hadn't been deflected, it would have been intercepted. The corner jumped that. Ralph Brown jumped that, was ready to take it away. A good thing it was deflected. They better go deep soon.
Terrell Farley. He has a sack and now a deflection, starting for the first time this year. Fullman going back deep to return this punt.
He returned a 79-yarder for a touchdown against these guys last year.
Now, because of the wind, Osborne's staff drops 2 short men back. Garcia did not punt well last time. Wiggins and McFarland go back deep. This went off the side of the foot and out of bounds.
Farley got in there and distracted the concentration.
Sports brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered. Fidelity Investments. Isn't it time you had Fidelity Investments working for you? And Chili's Grill and Bar, home of the Big Mouth Burgers. Dick Vermeil and Jack Arute. I'm Brett Musburger. Nebraska leading Kansas State in a Big 12 matchup here in Manhattan, Kansas. 3-0. Scott Frost and the Cornhuskers with their 3rd series of the game. Brendan Holbein is split out to the right. Green, the I-back, going nowhere because of Semino. And we go down the stairs to talk about this young Nebraska quarterback, a junior. Here's our friend Jack Arute.
Well, Brett, remember after the Arizona State University lost, a lot of the people in Lincoln were criticizing Scott Frost. And in fact, they were saying, hey, he may not be as good as Tommy Frazier. Whether he's as good or not, take a look at what Dr. Tom Osborne, the head coach, says about Frost. He says, guys, you got to live with it.
I might not know much, but I know he's my best. And it's 2nd and 10, and Frost now rolling left is going to keep it. Outstanding runner. Bumped out of bounds at the 36-yard line by number 42, Mark Semino. He's a freshman from Smith Center, Kansas.
Concentrate on the fullback on his counter cut block here. This quarterback has the option to run first, pass second. He gets a nice knockdown right there. Might as well go ahead and run the football.
It's 3rd down and 7. Draw. Green. Now a decision to be made as he reached out for the first down.
Really, this early in the ball game, normally I think a coach would go ahead and punt the football. They've got a lot of respect for what's been done here in Wildcat land. Tom Osborne's not going to take any chances.
Especially with that breeze behind him, Dick. Jesse Kosh might be able to nail one here and get it up into that wind.
Yes. And sometimes that ball bounces around. You know, you go to field that thing in that wind. I feel the wind coming in the booth here right now. They say this place can get really windy, but it's usually later in the year.
Interesting how, watch Canty. He's staying up. And now the coaches are backing him off as the return man. Left puts it, and look at this boomer with that breeze. If you didn't think wind was a factor in this game before that, you do now. A 58-yarder, and we send you from one Manhattan to another. John Saunders.
Across the plains, Brent. Penn State and Ohio State. This one Stanley to Stanley, as in Stanley Jackson back to pass to Demetrius Stanley. Where the coverage was, I don't know. Wide open for the touchdown, 42 yards. The Buckeyes on the board first, 7-0. Brent.
John, Ohio State a big double-digit favorite over Penn State. Hard to believe against a Joe Paterno coach team, but then you see highlights like that coming from John Saunders, and you know why they're jumping aboard the Ohio State bandwagon. Marlon Charles is the tailback, and Goolsby again the fullback, set there in front of him. The Wildcats trail it by 3. This has been their starting field position all game long. 3 kicks, all of them out of the end zone. 2 kickoffs and now a punt. Charles cut back, nothing doing, and a splendid tackle by Jamel Williams, number 28. He's the Sam, or the strong linebacker for the Huskers.
You know, when he's only 6'2", 205, he's actually a strong safety playing outside linebacker. But with people like you have in front of him, you can go ahead and play lighter people. You see Farley, number 43. He's not a big guy either. But they don't need big guys because the defensive line dominates so much, and you have to contend yourself with a Winstrom and a Tomich and a Peters and an Ogard that you can play with the smaller guys.
J.R. Edwards, number 3, wide receiver for the Huskers. I should say he's on that defensive unit, and this is Charles bouncing off the first hit to the 25-yard line. And again, there's your man, Dick Williams.
Yes, he is. They tried to trap him there, and it didn't work because they didn't have enough people left to go ahead and pick up Williams. He just folded back up inside and made the play.
I think that's, with all the duplication of numbers, I think I saw Eric Warfield down there and thought maybe they'd slipped a split end in there. I got 2 3s, 2 4s.
Hey, there's 8s, 4s, 28s. There's 2 28s, 1 on offense and 1 on defense.
Oh, big test for a spotter today. 3rd and 5. Kavanaugh with a shotgun look. Here come those ends. They can't get to him, but they got enough pressure on him that the ball was thrown high. Terrell Farley had jumped back into that zone and is helping out on pass coverage.
Well, they brought the outside linebackers and then went zone, just backed off like that. And he slips as he comes out of his break right there, and the defender did as well. That's Mike Fullman up there at the corner. He's the backup corner, really coming on right now.
He'll go back as the middleman. Now, we've got a new punter who has checked in, and that is Chad Romano. So Garcia takes a seat. And now Romano is going to try it. Oh, he didn't even get it off. That's Farley again. What a game Farley is having.
That's disaster.
That's a first down, Huskers at the 14-yard line, and he was taking way too much time.
Couldn't
he was
figure that out.
frozen back there.
I know it. He has 2 seconds to get that ball off. 0.8 of a second on the snap, 1.2 to kick it. And he was taking way too much time. Form-fitting the ball. Evidently, he didn't expect to rush.
He should have kicked it right into Mr. Farley. Hope to get the ball out of there and take the rough.
You know, they broke down in the kicking game last year against Nebraska, and they're breaking down today. Field position, 14-yard line. Boy, tough to win.
From the eye, here's the toss sweep. Green powers his way to the 9-yard line.
Excellent blocking that time by big Tim Carpenter. I mentioned the tight end blocking a minute ago. He really did a super job of coming off the ball and hooking that linebacker out there and made a soft corner, and that's why they were able to get upfield. These guys get down there, they normally score. This is characteristic of their offense every year, not just this year.
2nd and 5 for the Huskers. Green to about the 8-yard line. That was Andrew Timmons again.
Timmons, in watching game tapes of 2 games that they play, I felt this guy really is an active football player. I think he's just really finding out the kind of talent that he has, Brent. He is quick, and defensively, when they get down there, they've done a pretty good job. Well, Palm scored 3 out of 6 times. That's 50%, 2 touchdowns. Right now, I'd say that's a pretty good job.
This is an interesting play right here, Coach. 3rd and 4. Ball is on the 8-yard line. They're going to run the option and nothing doing. Oaks, number 50, read it perfectly and took the quarterback. Travis Oaks, whose brother was a standout here, and the sophomore, the younger of the Oaks brothers, does the job.
You'll see Oates right here comes in and he beats the block to the outside. They should have pitched the ball on him. He's penetrating upfield. See, they're going to opt on him, and he gets to the quarterback. Good quickness by Travis Oaks.
If you're a Nebraska fan, you're just a little uneasy, even though Chris Brown kicks this one 27 yards. Big favorite here with that leg, and it's 6-0. However, remember, they took that ball at the 14-yard line after they stuffed the punt and couldn't do anything about it. We'll be right back. This week's Marriott moment, Nebraska's Keithan McCann scored this touchdown on a 32-yard run in this 1991 game between Nebraska and Kansas State at Lincoln. But then on the final play of the game, Kansas State with an opportunity to tie. Paul Watson threw an incomplete pass, and Nebraska held on 38-31. Well, there's Romano, who was the 2nd punter used today by Coach Snyder, and Farley ate him up. Terrell Farley was a standout a year ago with 10 tackles, including 2 sacks for 22 yards and losses. Already he has a blocked punt. Actually didn't get it off. He sacked the punter and a quarterback. So let's give him 2 sacks rather than a blocked punt. Well, this one will go out of the end zone. We know what's happening here.
Well, first off, Romano held the ball too long, but here's Farley right here coming off the outside, and Lamar Chapman jumps out and blocks him, but he doesn't block him real physical, expecting the punter to get the ball off quicker. But if he's going to hold on the ball that long, look at him form fit that thing. Can't do it that way. Should punt that ball within a 2-second period.
Well, there's your story. With the wind blowing, field position changes dramatically. We have played this game in this end of the field, and you've got to say that Tom Osborne and his coaching staff cannot be happy about only having 2 field goals on that scoreboard. Mike Lawrence is the running back for the Wildcats. Play fake. Kavanaugh comes back, and this one almost intercepted by number 20, Michael Booker.
Excellent, excellent, excellent coverage by Michael Booker. It's a deep out. He's backing off, good pedal position. He goes in, takes him in the movement. Look at the athletic ability of Booker. The ball's thrown properly low on the outside, but he has enough ability to sprint back and dissect that ball. Should have picked it.
Kavanaugh is starting slowly. 1 of 5 for 5 yards facing this fierce Nebraska defense and the wind. So 2:54 left in the opening quarter. Now 2nd and 10. Kavanaugh with an inside shuttle now using Lawrence. Lawrence being stretched, and he made his way to the 26-yard line. It'll make it 3rd and 4, and we go down to Jackaroo.
Well, Brent, when you watch that play, you realize just how cerebral Brian Kavanaugh can be. He's got to assimilate a lot of this offensive game plan. It's very extensive. He's a 5th-year senior, and he only has to get 7 more hours to graduate with his degree. So he only takes classes 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and only 2 classes, Brian. So he has a lot of time to watch film.
Andre Anderson, number 25, goes to Kavanaugh's left. The Huskers rush 4. Kavanaugh's pass deflected, incomplete. And now who will punt for Kansas State? Because here they come again.
I would come back with Garcia myself.
26-yard line.
He's going to stick with Romano.
He knows him better than I do.
So Chad Romano out of Newman High School down in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'll bet they account for number 43. He still takes a lot of time. Hangs it high into the wind. Take it at the 41. And down at the 46-yard line is where Frost and the Nebraska offense will go to work again. And so a reminder that we're right in the neighborhood. The Kansas City Chiefs with a big one on Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. They'll be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The general manager of the Chiefs, Carl Peterson, among those watching today's game here in Manhattan, Kansas. And that one is going to be a big one.
I'm surprised they haven't come with their option more than they have so far, because they hurt them with the option play last year.
He pulls out. Frost, 1 to go. Oh, Fogel had a hand on it, and down it goes to the ground. Fogel, I think, thought he had to intercept the ball.
Boy, they had him wide open. If he'd have been able to throw that thing, they had the tight end down there deep.
Niall Weirin closes in to make the play.
Now Weirin will come around from the left side of your screen, he beats the tackle deep, comes around, and he had the tight end open downfield. The pattern just took a little too much time for the kind of rush that they got. Weirin on the top of your screen coming around, he sets, waits, bam, almost picked it off. Fogel is a penetrating type linebacker. He's a downhill player.
Well, I think Fogel thought it was a forward pass. That's a 4-yard loss, and D'Angelo Evans, the freshman sensation from Wichita, in the game. They fake to him. Frost gonna go the middle, way overthrown. He caught the Cyclone.
Yeah, and he had people open downfield too, coming from the backside. That's a double read pattern. And Brendan Holbein was from the slot pattern on the backside, was coming down the hole wide open, but he just didn't spot him.
Federal, the intended receiver on this side, and he overthrew him badly. And now it is 3rd and 14. And I go back to that Fogel play. Had he pounced on the ball, Kansas State would have recovered. Now Frost is out. Incomplete. The Nebraska offense is not functioning well. Kenny Cheatham dropping that ball, and Nebraska will punt.
They had a double screen going, fake the screen one way, then come back to the other side. And I have seen that pass dropped in college football probably more than any other pass thrown. You're moving back toward the ball. You see linemen coming at it, your own linemen. You see defenders charging at you, and if you break your concentration, you drop the football, and that's what Kenny Cheatham did.
Jesse Cush, I think I called him Cush when he punted the first time. So let's get that right out of Columbus, Nebraska. Back into punt formation here on 4th down for the Huskers. Rush. They come after the left-footed punter, and he gets it off. Now it's Canty's turn. Canty from the 18. Back of the 20. That's worse field position than they've enjoyed all day as they swarm all over number 2 and bring him down. Well, tomorrow night on the network, America's Funniest Home Video starts it off, and then that's the wedding, eh? Lois and Clark. That's big on that show. And then the presidential debate out of Hartford, Connecticut. And our prime time starts tomorrow at 6:30 in this time zone in Central Time. So the ball now is back on the 16-yard line. And Kansas State has not enjoyed favorable field position here in the first quarter of this game. And they trail it by a couple of field goals. You can see that they've only accounted for 10 yards against this fierce Nebraska defense. Marlon Charles is the running back. Movement down in the middle.
It appeared that the hard count got him. Jason Wiltz was in there at the nose position.
Dead ball. Outside.
Well, that means that they've accounted for 16 yards of offense and 15 yards of offside penalties.
They're moving.
That's been the best play of the game.
They have a phase of their offense, too, that it doesn't matter what defense they're in, they go ahead and run it. They won't audible.
1st and 5. Charles, nothing doing. The black shirts wearing white. And we knew that number 43, Farley, would be somewhere around that tackle again. Jack Arute, are you able to see the other side of this field down there, partner, with that big crown?
I'll tell you what, Brent, we've been across the country in a lot of stadiums, but take a look. We'll bring the camera down. The crown here is at least 18 inches from the peak to the sidelines. And Coach Vermeil, you know, do you want those big uglies running downhill when they're chasing you?
I know that. The quarterback has to be alert, too, that he doesn't throw the ball over the top of a receiver going toward that sideline.
2nd down and 4. K-State spreads it out, tries to run, and nothing doing. Big number 98, Grant Wistrom, closing in along with Scott Saltzman, number 74.
Wistrom is so quick. Here he is to the right center of your screen, number 98. He's so quick. They let him go because they're drawing up inside him, but he has good lateral movement to come on around the backside. What they did inside is they stunted the defensive lineman, and that plugged up the hole and slowed down the execution of the play.
3rd and 3. And that's going to end the first quarter. They're going to let it run out. They want the wind at their back for 3rd and 3, and you can hardly blame them. Quarter. Kansas State's inability to punt the football. Farley in with that tackle. It set up their 2nd field goal. So with 3 punts in that first quarter, K-State averaged 32 yards. That's your storyline here. And it is 6-0. The Huskers with the lead over the Cats. Now the wind is at Kansas State's back, and Kavanaugh back in the shotgun. Into the arms of pressure, wind or no wind. They couldn't do anything with big number 99 there defensively, Jason Wiltz.
There can't be much really exciting about either team statistically. It's 6-0, of course. Good field position by Nebraska. Kansas State is actually lucky to be only down 6-0. Rushing yards, look at this, 1 yard to 29 for Nebraska. That's really out of there. No yards passing so far. Total, look at that. Not much going on so far, but great defense.
Romano still in the game, punting. He replaced Garcia. Fullman out of Roselle, New Jersey, set to return. Fogel. He's the up back. Somebody's got to get on him. They came up the middle with daylight. Close again. Fielded by Fullman. 45. Cross midfield and out of bounds at the Wildcats 45-yard line.
That Mario Smith, the free safety, made the tackle on that, Brent. He is really a tackler. And you mentioned it too, watching game tapes. He likes to hit people. Here he is on special teams doing the same thing. You can see why he was defensive MVP in the Holiday Bowl last year. He likes to hit people. Good field position again.
So the I-back now for the Huskers is number 4, D'Angelo Evans. He's set behind Joel Makovica. Here's Evans, the talented freshman, with that little cutback step of his. Now let's talk about number 4 right now. He's a young man. Many of you folks in this part of the country already know he broke all of Barry Sanders' rushing records.
Real good defensive play. This Travis Oaks is playing that outside linebacker right now about as well as you can play it. You come to him, you get a headache.
2nd down and 7. Here's Evans. Nothing doing. You know, there are 2 number 4s down there. The one you've been talking about defensively, Dick, and the one I've been raving about as a freshman, and they meet head up.
I know it, and I'll tell you, the fullback did a nice job. Here's the linebacker coming in. The fullback watched the collision at the point of attack on this play. It's an isolation lead blocking play. Joel Makovica coming in. Bang! Great contact right there by both people. Defense won.
3rd and 6. Intercepted. 40, 45. Clyde Johnson, and a penalty flag goes down on top of it. So the 26-year-old senior strong safety who came back from the Marine Corps out of Austin, Texas to play for Coach Bill Snyder opens things up here for the Wildcats.
That's one negative in regard to play action. You turn your back to the line of scrimmage, you can't see what's happening down there. What he didn't see was the tight end running down the hole wide open. Sheldon Jackson going to the top of your screen right there was wide open for a big one.
And tack on the personal foul. Watch the end of the play now. Watch him out of bounds.
Definitely out of bounds when he gets nailed. Foul.
That wasn't it, Dick. It was later. He was hit. And I believe it was Scott Frost who went back and got him. I want to hesitate because I was looking from a distance.
First time I've ever been around you and you said a quarterback got a penalty. Yeah,
it was him.
He's aggressive at the wrong time.
1st and 10 now. So an interception and then a personal foul, a major blunder. So from the 31-yard line, finally K-State with a chance. But you know, Dick, these late audible calls are not paying off for this attack right now.
So far they haven't, because they haven't been able to beat the man-to-man coverage.
Lockett cuts back, broken up.
I tell you, Charlie McBride's doing a good job of changing the looks and sugarcoating the defense as they're moving around here. He tried to run a little stop and go on Ralph Brown that time. Ralph Brown is just a freshman. They thought they could pull him up and then go deep behind him, and they couldn't do it. Excellent job by Ralph Brown, a true freshman out of Walnut, California. He was a great high school running back. Not really given a lot of credit for being a great defensive player. Today, he's demonstrating he can play both ways.
2nd and 10. The option look. Lawrence surrounded. Nothing doing against that Husker defense.
That defense is so quick. Now, Kansas State is not a big option team. They want to run that play today because they want to use it as a sweep to get outside against this defense. But Nebraska sees options all the time, all through spring practice, all through training camp, because that's their style of play. And they demonstrated they know how to defense them right there. They just flew to the ball. Tom doesn't make many mistakes.
But so far, it's a one-dimensional football team Nebraska has fielded today. And that unit on the field right now. The kicking game and the defense are holding up for the Huskers, and the offense has let them down so far. It's only 6-0. 3rd and 12. Kavanaugh fires incomplete. Lockett. What a magnificent defensive effort it is, though. It's almost as though the Husker defense is saying, we have got to throw a shutout.
Yeah, this time McBride changes up the defense to a zone, and they back off and play real soft. They had the right call. The double slants in there. He just threw the ball too high. There's Charlie McBride right there. You know, people are stealing his defensive concepts all over the country. Last week we're in Florida State, Tallahassee. They're telling us, well, we had McBride down here and he put on a clinic. You know, I think they're all trying to find out a way to beat Florida someday down the road.
So Jamie Ream will punt with James Garcia. I should say he's in here to attempt this 51-yard field goal. Garcia puts it down, and Ream pounds it. Good. A 51-yard field goal by the freshman from Wichita. I don't know what it is about defense and Dick Vermeil, but every time I show up, I'm beginning to think all we're going to see are field goals. What do you do with these defensive coordinators, Coach?
I don't know. I'll tell you this, but both of them are doing an excellent job. And we really have two inexperienced quarterbacks. A redshirt senior that's only played 4 games as a starter, and we have a transfer from Stanford playing his 4th game as a starter. And, you know, a good defenses bring the worst out of inexperienced quarterbacks.
Now it's Ream's turn to pound one into the Kansas win. Well, Jack Arute, never a shortage of football talent over at Nebraska when we visit in Lincoln.
Now, Brent, in fact, you were talking about which 4 was in, which 4 playing. But when you take a look at the 3 deep for the Cornhuskers preseason, of the 71 players listed, 25 were walk. That's 35%. And they were walk-ons when they came to NU. They've since earned scholarships. In fact, a lot of them have actually worked their way into the starting field. And think about this, Brent. Coach Tom Osborne says they have 30 to 35 prospects now, and they think maybe 8 will find their way to scholarships.
Here's Evans, the freshman, on a cutback to the 21-yard line. That's Deshaun Fogel making the stop.
I'll tell you, Niall Wyra, number 44, right there in the middle of your screen, does an excellent job. Now, he's given away about 50 pounds on that offensive tackle. Does a great job of getting upfield, penetration, and kicks the play back inside. Wonderful job there, Niall. Here's Coach Stoops. He's cheering him on, too.
2nd and 9. Evans again. He blasts his way through to the 26. You get the feeling, watching Evans, that it's just going to happen. You just get the feeling that this young man has all the potential in the world to become the next superstar up the road in Lincoln. Now, I know those numbers aren't flashy, but you're looking at a true freshman. And for Tom Osborne to express this kind of confidence in him here when he's number 2 in the rotation, that is really something.
Yeah, and to be able to run for 8,400 yards in your career on average, 207 yards a game in your career, you got to have some weapons. You got to have a pair of feet on you and some legs that can move.
Well, let's find out how the Bucks are doing. Dick, let's send everybody to John Saunders. John?
Brent, when you lose 3 guys in the top 10 of the draft of the NFL, you figure you're going to struggle. Not for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Stanley Jackson, 24 yards to Matt Keller. The 2nd touchdown of the game. Jackson is tossed. They also have a field goal 17-0 now over Penn State. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech leading unbeaten Virginia 13-0. C.J. Williams has a 3-yard touchdown run in that one. Brent.
John, I got to tell you, I think the MVP at Ohio State is Stanley Jackson. I'm going to tell you that the coaches went out and recruited a JC quarterback to be their starter this year. He didn't come through for them. They turned it over to Jackson, and the rest is history.
talked to Walt Harris this week, the coordinator at Ohio State, Brent. He told me it's absolutely unbelievable, the transition between that guy when he wasn't a starter and all of a sudden he is a starter. He says he is a new person in every way.
That's amazing what the Buckeyes are accomplishing this year after losing those 3 fellas that John talked about. There's Glenn. He's up there with New England. You know, he's not doing badly.
He's starting to come on.
Yes,
You know, they called, they got after him a little bit. Called her Herd, didn't he?
3rd down and 5 now for Frost. Here's Evans. Got the first down. There's a strong run as the freshman gets the corner with Chris Canty bringing him down.
I tell you, Mario Smith came up from that safety position awfully quick, did everything he could to get it back inside, but didn't get the inside-out pursuit. Nobody runs option football any better than Nebraska when they're really humming.
Very important now for the Cornhuskers moving into this wind to control the clock. You get the feeling now that Osborne's staff is going to use a lot of option. Keep it on the ground, although Frost is changing up here. Nakovic is the fullback. They look at the option, and Frost is hit from behind. And down he goes with Jerome Evans from Waco, the defensive tackle, junior, bringing him down.
Oaks does a good job of just stringing out to the right side of your screen. He's coming right down the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to change the blocking on that. They're turning the fullback up inside to seal off the linebacker, and the outside linebacker is just stringing out and making the quarterback sweat is the technique you use in coaching linebackers. Make him sweat. Make him indecisive.
2nd and 12, and we'll see who will be sweating on this play, Coach. Frost gets protection, fires left side, short of the first down, out of bounds on the 38-yard line. That is Jackson, the tight end, with the reception over there. That's Sheldon Jackson as opposed to Vershawn, and Travis Oaks defending him.
Well, that's a new pattern put in the game plan. They have not used that formation. They motion to a bunch formation and then get 3 people up there. They like that because Kansas State plays so much man-to-man. They think they can loosen it up, cross people, and get that positive gain.
It is 3rd and a long 3. Frost only 1 of 5 for 8 yards, and that one costly interception. Frost is in the gun. Almost dropped that snap. They run the option out of it with Evans. And Evans is hit by number 4, Mario Smith.
A great tackle, but I believe, Brent, that they got the first down. That was as well an executed fundamental tackle as you can make. Let's hear this one.
First down, 44-yard line.
Woo! Boy, you can't tackle any better than that. That could be on a highlight film and how it ought to be done, Mario.
Like you said, D'Angelo made the first down.
You bet. Ball
almost at the 45-yard line.
Did you notice him lower his center of gravity and start? He looked a little more like Barry. You know how Barry widens the base, lowers his center of gravity and cuts?
In the 4th quarter against Colorado State, I know it was mop-up time, and I was watching the tapes. In fact, I was watching the Tom Osborne show. And you know, Tom, he kind of low-keys things. He didn't want to say anything. And I'm saying, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. You can't teach that move, what I just looked at. I mean, and he's coming out to the sideline now. D'Angelo is going to take a break.
He took a hit. That's why he's taking a break.
And Green steps in. There's the young man. Nakovic gets a play fake. Frost pulls out. Wants that fullback. Incomplete. And also the tight end over there, Sheldon Jackson, was working down the hole. So it's 2nd and 10.
They know what they're doing, too, defensively. They're allowing Deshaun Fogel, the inside linebacker, to scrape off on quarterback action and get in there and put pressure on him. He's doing a nice job of doing that. An excellent football player. He really impressed me on game tape.
The longer this continues, it's our feeling that the more confident Kansas State is going to become. They had a very shaky start punting, and they're only down 3 with 9 minutes here in the first half. Nakovic, and he's out to the 46-yard line. There's Fogel, number 8, again.
I tell you, he did a nice job, but so did Damian McIntosh, 77, the defensive tackle, just came in the football game. You know, they don't have a lot of defensive linemen. The 2 defensive ends, Swayzer and Wyron, will probably play every snap. The tackles, they'll change those guys up just a little bit inside.
3rd down and inside pitch. Amon Green shakes the first man, and because he did that, it's first down Nebraska at the 41-yard line. He shook off the high tackle attempt.
See, they got the defense thinking pass rush, got him upfield, 44. Wyron gets up there thinking fast. They flip the ball up underneath him. To do that effectively, your guards and centers inside have to do a good job as well.
Now, Mario Smith needs to bury the shoulder into him a little bit lower than that, Coach, the next time.
He's a man. You know, it's funny you say that. Frank Solich, the running back coach assistant head coach at Nebraska, told me that this football team does tackle pretty high, and they think they could, you know, run off some of those tackles.
So timeout in Manhattan, Kansas. Welcome back, everybody. And Dick, that was the third timeout used by K-State. They've exhausted their timeouts here in the first half.
I know it, and you've got a lot of time left to play, and you're only down by 3 points. You'd like to always keep one at least, for in case final second field goal, you stop the clock and gun. That's a mistake on their part, and it really could hurt them.
Nice to see.
That's our spotter.
We always did wonder what became of Jimmy Tubbs. First down and 10, 8:14 to go in the first half. Green,
you know,
down to the 37-yard line.
Right now, Mike Stoops is doing a real good job of playing his defensive ends hard to the outside there. Now, you look at big Adam True, number 77, doing a great job at turning out his defensive end. On the other side, they were playing the defensive end outside. He's moving that defensive front around. They don't stunt very much, maybe with the tackles a little bit. Mike Stoops really, I think, is experiencing his first full control game as a coordinator.
Second and 6, and it's Green to the middle and the 35-yard line, and a couple of yards. And you know, we had an upset Georgia Tech brewing down there against Virginia. John Saunders, what's the latest on that ACC matchup?
Well, Brent, as you mentioned, Georgia Tech had a 13-0 lead over Virginia, a team yet to lose this year. Tiki Barber behind the blocking, then cuts it back, punches this one across, and Georgia Tech's lead is now down to 13-7. Brent.
Yeah, John, the Georgia Tech coaching job, that's been an improvement down there, and now we see a timeout's going to be called the other way, and that's Nebraska's first of 3. But O'Leary's done a good job down at Georgia Tech, and of course Welsh down there at Virginia is simply one of the best in the land. Everybody knows that.
They get a lot out of their players. They really do. And we saw Georgia Tech play last year and played Florida State very tough through the first half.
Well, we're talking about the ACC. Let's show you our lineup next week here on ABC. Those Bucks still rolling, and they'll host Wisconsin. Just keep in mind, historically, the Badgers have always played the Buckeyes well. Can they do it again? Dick, you and I are going to the Rose Bowl to watch Arizona State, the Cinderella so far. They'll be matched against the Bruins. Oklahoma, Texas, and boy, OU, they just haven't done much. And Frost is struggling here, Jack Harut. He's got his hands full.
Yeah, but Brent, you know, he had a real offensive genius train him. In fact, he was highly recruited to Stanford University, despite the fact that his parents were standout athletes at the University of Nebraska. Why? The quarterback guru, Bill Walsh, was there. He said, I wanted to learn as much as I could about being a quarterback. When Walsh left, he decided to return back to the University of Nebraska. And when media asked him why, he said, because I want a chance to win a national championship.
Jack, one thing about the guru, I think he thought about making this young man a safety. I honestly think that went on out there at Stanford, and that was one of the reasons why he decided to leave.
He started 5 games at the safety position there. He's such a gifted athlete. You know, this guy won the state championship in the shot put. Now, quarterbacks don't put the shot, but he threw it 58 feet, 9.5 inches, Brent.
3rd and 4. 12th play of the drive, so they've worked the clock down very well into the wind. Here he is as a running. Right straight ahead, short of the 30-yard line. This will depend on the spot as to whether or not Nebraska comes away with the first down in this situation.
That's the advantage you have when you have a quarterback that is very, very mobile.
He got it.
You know, he's not throwing the ball real well right now, so they get into big wide receiver, multiple wide receiver formation, spread everybody out, get them thinking pass, and then run a little quarterback keep up inside, pulling the lineman, leading the way.
You know, Joe Gordon, the injured cornerback of Kansas State, is on the field now. He's over at that right cornerback spot. Frost looks down the left side, and it is complete to John Bedrell.
Boy, can he cover. That was physical bump and run coverage all the way, one-on-one. He had time to go down and work on him. And Bedrell's just a 5'10", 205-pound, looks like a running back, not a wide receiver, but he out-physicaled him right there at the breaking point. And Chris Canty demonstrates why he was an All-American last year. They completed the ball, but I'll tell you, it was a struggle, and he was right there.
A 13-yard gain gives the Huskers a first down inside the 20. Impressive drive. And now they run the fullback, or the short man. That's one thing with Makovica, the ball carrier, about the Husker attack. When you least expect it, they will use the fullback there to soften up the middle. Let's quickly get a Cal update from John Saunders. John?
Well, Brent, Cal still without a loss coming into this game. 4th down and 1 at the 12. Pat Barnes to Tony Gonzalez. Gonzalez had just dropped one in the end zone. They missed the point after. 13-0 Cal. Brent.
Barnes, one of the better kept secrets, and that new coach out there,
Steve Mariucci's done a great job. That training he got at Green Bay really helped him too, Brent.
and now the Huskers, they bring the power with Green, the ball carrier, smashing inside the 10-yard line. They needed to reach the 7 for a first and goal. But what's very impressive about this drive is that Kansas State is being denied an opportunity to move the football when they have the wind at their back. This is the one thing when you talk to Coach Osborne about his offense and you say, Tom, you've got the ability to recruit some of the best throwing quarterbacks in the country. And Osborne will tell you that you must run in this conference, especially come November. And it is 3rd down and 1. Green on a spinner, couldn't get free. There was defensive penetration by Jerome Evans and Andrew Timmons.
Both tackles, you called it right on the money, Brent. Both tackles did a good job. Here they are right here, and boy, they take those gaps. Good determination, good technique, looped out, slanted to the right, bang, up into the gap, and as you called it, Evans got him in the backfield.
So Nebraska uses a timeout. It's 4th and a long one. Inside of 5 minutes, they'll make the decision, and we'll be back. Tom Osborne in Nebraska going for it here on 4th and 1. Makovic is the fullback. He's in front of the I-back, Amon Green. Frost, a good runner, is the quarterback. 17th play in the drive. They run the I-toss behind Green. Touchdown, Nebraska. Makovic clearing the way, and that, during the commercial timeout, is the play that Coach Vermeil wanted.
Yeah, the tight end did a beautiful job, Brent, there. I like them getting the ball to your best football player in a critical situation. I didn't think they'd score with it, but the tight end, Tim Carpenter, did an excellent job of blocking the outside linebacker on the play. Then he got another block from his fullback, and he takes it on into the end zone.
Nebraska uses another timeout. Now watch Makovic lead the way here.
Here he is, an academic All-American, and he's blocking like an All-American. Look, hunts him up, pow! Key block right there, just enough. Kick him out, he runs up underneath, up high, toss, good block by the tight end. Makovic comes up in the lane, kicks him out. There it is. Struts on in.
So Clyde Johnson, the strong safety, didn't have a chance when Makovic buried him. And we are within 4:49 at halftime, and John Saunders tells us what's ahead.
Coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96, we'll have all the day's scores and the highlights. Plus, we'll hear from Troy Davis of Iowa State and Todd Blackledge, already working hard behind the scenes, getting ready with the scores and highlights. It's all coming up on Valvoline Halftime 96.
Well, here, Nebraska has decided that they will line up and attempt a 2-point conversion. They lead it 12-3. They're up by 9.
Normally you would think they would run some kind of pass, but these people are so good at options and have more varieties to pick from with their sophisticated attack, you can't guess.
Frost sprinting right, throwing back, deflected, intercepted, and Canty will be down right there. Canty has returned a conversion, 98 yards for 2 points in his career. This is Clyde Johnson. He will deflect the ball, and Canty picks it off.
He's rolling out. I think he really had the option to go down the middle with the throw or go backside with the running back coming out the backside of the field. But he didn't set up in time to look backside. He saw it inside. Ball was tipped. Interception.
12-3. It's a 9-point Nebraska lead. We've had one touchdown. Nebraska just scoring the touchdown. So a reminder that later this evening on ESPN, Clemson will show up in Tallahassee to take on what has to be a very angry Florida State offense, Dick.
No question. I can imagine the offensive meetings in the staff rooms with Coach Bowden down there chewing on ears, because he won't just get after the players. He'll get after the coaches. And what a great defensive football team they are. I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you watch that tonight, you're going to see some defense played.
Tom Osborne with some defense being played here. And that last drive started at the 20, so the Huskers drove 80 yards. And it began at the 11:36 mark, and they bring it down to 4:49. Now Brown, and here comes Canty. This time into the wind, he's able to return it. Slips 3, 20. 1 foot. Oh, what a good-looking football player. Down at the 25-yard line. Let's go down to Jackaroo. Jack.
Well, Brent, remember, we've seen a couple of good plays by the offense on Kansas State University. Well, we probably won't see him again during this game. Ron Hudson and the rest of the offensive game staff said they were going to plan a playbook in an offensive game today that wasn't going to see a lot of repeat plays. Why was that? That's how much respect they have for the Nebraska defense and Nebraska's ability to adjust once they get beaten.
Well, Jack, Kevin Lockett, their talented wide receiver, is split far out to the right. Marlon Charles is the running back, and Jimmy Dean, he's a slot receiver now for K-State. They'll try to quickly bring it down the field. Good time and almost intercepted. That ball was badly thrown. Michael Booker, the senior defensive back, was standing right there on that side of the field.
He had excellent protection. See, they had maximum protection. They only had 2 people in the pattern. They were blocking with 8. The pattern was a little delay in and back out. And you get this kind of time, you've got to throw it accurately. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Normally, you don't get that kind of time to throw the football.
I like the way the coach counts slow motion, folks, don't you? Huh? Don't you like that? Very.
I wasn't a math major.
3 receivers out to the right. The stand-up tight end here for the Wildcats. Kavanaugh again changes it up, and Mike Lawrence moves in behind him as the running back. Quick drop high, and it was overthrown on Anderson and not functioning well. Almost a lateral, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was back just enough. And Anderson's the kind of guy you want to get the ball in his hands quickly. He's an awfully good runner after the catch. In fact, now they're working him as a 3rd running back in the offense at Kansas State. He can run with the ball when he's got it under his hand. He was a high school running back.
Well, indeed, it was a lateral. -9 from where it went out of bounds. So the linesman on that side, he marked it there. It was thrown backward, and Kansas State's lucky that it went out of bounds. Had it stayed there in play, the Huskers might have been in business again. Well, the one thing you don't want to do, Coach, is outsmart yourself. And K-State is 0 of 6 on 3rd downs now. This one, 3rd and 19. Down the side, out of bounds, and they have failed again. The intended receiver, Kevin Lockett, but he never had a chance at that one.
Lockett, the safety, ends up getting over there to help. They have tight coverage right there with Michael Booker, number 20, but he knows he has Minner, number 10. They're backing him up. See, so you can play very, very aggressive. They also, at that time, within that pass protection scheme, doubled Grant Wistrom. That's why he had that much time. They put a guy on him and a guy outside him.
Now Garcia returns.
Wind to his back.
Mike Fullman waits. They came and they blocked it. A blocked punt. Out of bounds at the 20-yard line. Eric Warfield, number 3, came flying
really believe these people are taking way too much time. He has 1.2 seconds to get it off. After the snap, I think he's taking longer. Plus, he's taking 3 steps toward the line of scrimmage. Here he is. 1, 2, 3. There's the 3rd step. It is blocked. He's going to have to get it off quicker, and they're going to have to block a little bit better.
The offense now with 19 yards to go. The fullback to the 16-yard line, and that's Brian Schuster. He and Joel Makovica, the 2 Nebraska fullbacks here. So suddenly it is the experience on the coaching sideline for Nebraska that is starting to show up. Coach Snyder's team is struggling over here, and on the other side, the coach is realizing that the wind was a factor, that the defense was dominating the game, that the kicking game would become important here, and that's why the man won back-to-back national championships. Frost now pitching. Here's Evans, and he is swarmed at the 16-yard line.
Great job by Clyde Johnson, number 7, coming from his safety position, inside out, what they call coming down the lane. He did a real good job of getting upfield that time and getting into the play. Nice job, Clyde. You've been around a while. It was worth waiting for.
16-yard line.
Big defensive play they need now.
7 yards for Frost and the Huskers. Rolling to the short side, wants to look back, and he's got Evans over there. 15. Fumble! Out of bounds. Nebraska ball. Gordon didn't field and have control for Kansas State. A 3rd down fumble by Evans on the reception.
You can see they'll start the quarterback one way. The running back will step and come back to the outside. He'll get an escort with an offensive lineman. A little delayed throwback with a one-man screen. Set. Now here comes the offensive lineman out there. That's Chris Dishman out there. D'Angelo gets it knocked out by a good hard hit, but
it would have been Kansas State ball. Instead it comes, you can see where he hit him. Canty knocking the ball out. Ball comes back now to the 11-yard line, where it'll be 4th down and field goal time for Nebraska. Had Gordon fielded the ball on the first hop, it would have been K-State ball. But because it went out of bounds, Nebraska the last team to possess it, and a 28-yard field goal is hammered true. That's the 3rd field goal of the game for Brown, and now it becomes a 15-3 Nebraska lead.
they're doing everything right in regard to defense, in regard to the kicking game. That is Nebraska. I'm surprised at the breakdowns I've seen in Kansas State's kicking game. A la North Carolina last week, playing real well, but breaking down in the kicking game.
Well, with the 3 parts of a football game, offense, defense, and kicking, Nebraska here is dominating in the defense and the kicking side of things. And there is Brown, Jackaroot.
Brent, you know, usually the kickers, they kind of stay off to themselves. They're not really well-liked unless they have to come in at the end. Well, that isn't the case with Chris Brown. During 2 days this year, a bunch of the guys, including Jared Tomich, approached him and gave him the traditional Nebraska head shave. He said, you know, I didn't want to lose my brown locks, but once they gave me that, I knew I'd arrived as a member of the team.
I'll tell you this, teammates like kickers a lot better when they kick 88% too. And that's what he does. But, you know, he was an all-around athlete in high school, a real good quarterback, and watching him on the field here yesterday, he's a man. Not that kickers aren't, but he's really put together.
2 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the first half, with Nebraska leading Kansas State 15-3.
And this is when you'd like to have your timeouts that you mentioned we were talking about earlier. They do not have any.
High and deep and even into the wind. This one's out of the end zone. Strong leg being demonstrated by Chris Brown, the sophomore from Southlake, Texas.
Wow, he does have a strong leg. He got the ball up high to into the wind and still kicked it to the back of the end zone. I want some of what you had for breakfast, Chris. He's got some energy.
And this Husker defense has stifled Kavanaugh completely.
I think offensively, Kansas State has to be very, very careful what they do right now. They can't afford a bad play and give the Huskers some kind of a big play. Down 15-3 is bad enough. Don't make it worse.
Lawrence is the running back. Anderson was going to the left side of the formation. He moves over to slot right, which is the short side of the field. Fake toss. Kavanaugh fires complete, and Lockett with his second catch of the day to the 25-yard line, and it's 2nd and 5.
Boy, Ralph Brown, 22, it came up. The true freshman, as we talked about earlier, reacted real well. It was just a little quick stop hook, action away, firing the ball. Then they wanted Lockett, who's a good run after the catch guy, to make him miss. He didn't miss.
Out of timeout, so they operate without the huddle. Kavanaugh, and why not? He's been audibling all day anyway, so he simply calls the play here from the shotgun formation, and Lawrence moves over to his right. They show blitz. Kavanaugh into the pressure, throws for Anderson, incomplete, and there was a heavy assault on the quarterback, who is slowly trying to regain his composure back here amidst this fierce rush.
Well, Wistrom started up to the outside, then he loops all the way back to the inside, and he'll appear right in the middle of your screen. Here he comes, number 98. Wham! Boy, that took an awful long time, but he held on to the ball for an awful long time. Good pass rush stunt that time.
3rd and 5. Nebraska wanting to hold here and take another crack at the Wildcats. Far outside right, slot in that direction. Kavanaugh looks right, coming middle, high, incomplete. Lockett, the intended receiver, but the pass was not well thrown, and K-State punting again. Can they get it off? That's the big question here as Garcia trots back on the field. They've had one punt blocked. They've had another punter tackled before he can get it off. And they've averaged about 32 yards a punt when they have been successful.
And they came in here averaging 47.6 a punt. They've really gone in the tank in the kicking game. Get it off quick.
Nebraska may settle for the football back at the 2-minute mark. Let's see what they come up with. That's exactly what they're going to do, and Garcia booms this one.
You can return that kind of a low, long drive.
Picked up now by Fullman. Fullman's free at the 20. Slips at the 24-yard line. The Huskers with 1:49 and a 15-3 lead on a 64-yard punt. So Kansas big over Oklahoma. When is the last time Oklahoma had a successful game? My.
Early last year, prior to the Texas A&M game. Remember, they were going, filled up the stadium, had a lead at halftime. No, against Colorado was Brent, not A&M. It was against Colorado.
Amon Green. He's the eye back. 2 wide receivers and a couple of tight ends now. Here's Amon, hole left side. And he goes for 12 yards on 1st down.
I'll tell you, John Zedeska did a real nice job of stepping around the center's block that time and really opened it up for him. You'll see what I'm talking about from the left side of your screen. You'll see Zedeska 64 come out, bang, there's the hole. Nice step around block. We call it a full blocking in offensive line play.
Oaks limping off, number 50. Frost on 1st and 10. Throws complete to Holbein. Brendan Holbein makes the reception. Canty, the defender, a 3-yard gain. And there is Oaks receiving medical attention on the far side.
They can't afford to lose him. They're very, very thin in regard to talented players to back up their starters.
1:12 left in the first half. Inside, Green to the 45-yard line, and this will leave them with 3rd and 2.
I'll tell you this, the defensive tackles, Jerome Evans that time didn't even get lined up in time for the snap. He got drilled because he didn't get lined up quickly. They better get going. They're going without a huddle.
Sean Wheating brings the play in from the sideline. Brian Schuster in at fullback. They do have a play in which the fullback ISOs a block and then goes deep. And Schuster is the fullback they've worked with. Third down. Here it comes. Schuster's being held. That's interference.
Holding.
Here it comes. That was the play when they sent Schuster in from the sideline. And this was a very smart defensive maneuver. This was going to be 6 points. Watch now. Schuster's going to get held up here. Otherwise, it probably would have been a touchdown.
There he is. Clyde Johnson did the smart thing. See, he's an old ex-Marine, and he just grabbed him. He was had. Actually, I would have liked to use that play in a different situation, in a different time in the ball game, because you're more apt to get the safety to come flying up. But Clyde Johnson, head smart. Good play.
So the Yankees advance.
Defense. Spot foul.
You see that now it's the spot foul. So that makes the ball at the 44-yard line, and Nebraska with 30 seconds left on the board as the result. It's an automatic first down. And Frost rolls left, hits Holbein again, and that's for a good 11 yards. Another first down, stops the clock.
He has a real quick, short, bunch, snap throw. And I think as he gets accustomed to all this play action and relaxes and gets involved in the offense over a period of 7-8 games, I think he's going to throw the ball much more accurately, just like he did that time, right?
You know, Dick, something else about the Nebraska football players that sometimes we forget. They're very smart. That was one of the little things. They're out of timeouts, and Holbein quickly got the ball out of bounds. They're working the sideline. 23 seconds left. Frost on a keeper. Strange call out of timeouts, having said that with Wirren making the stop right there.
You're right about them, though. They are really a smart group. Offensively, Brent, 6 of the 11 starters are academic all-conference.
They stop the clock now with about 3 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Chris Brown coming in. He's got an awfully strong leg.
He has demonstrated it here.
He's kicking into the wind. The wind maybe had died down a little bit down here looking at that goalpost.
Down just a touch. Here comes a 50-yarder. Can Chris Brown nail another one? Wow. He drives it. Good. Wow. What a first half for Chris Brown. He has hit 45, 27, 28, and now a 50-yard field goal.
That would have been 55.
The Huskers lead it 18-3. Nebraska 18, Kansas State 3. 3 plays told the story of the first half lead for the Huskers here against the Wildcats. We had 1 touchdown. The eye toss, Makovica leading the way, and Green trotting into the end zone. But it was the kicking game that failed Kansas State. 1 tackled punter and another blocked punt by Warfield. That set up a field goal. And what a first half of kicking for Chris Brown, the sophomore from Texas. He nailed 4, 45, 27, 28, and a 50-yarder, the longest of his career. Reason to be excited. So, Coach Vermeil, what about Kansas State? Can they regroup here in the second half? What must they do? You think the passing game needs to open it up?
Well, they have to. They're not throwing the ball accurately when they do have a man open. Plus, the tight man-to-man coverage is really tough on the wide receivers. They might have to work inside to the slot receiver or the tight end or the running backs against linebackers. So they've got some problems. Actually, they haven't done too bad a job of protecting them.
So Nebraska with the first series coming up here in the second half. Amon Green and D'Angelo Evans back deep. out of the end zone, and they'll bring it up to the 20-yard line. It'll be Scott Frost. And Dick, here are the halftime numbers.
Well, it's totally dominated by the Nebraska people. You'll see total yards right here, 0 yards. I mean, that's total domination, plus 154. It says they don't have any turnovers, but really a block punt and a tackle punter is equivalent to a turnover, and sometimes worse. Total domination. And, you know, really, Kansas State's defense has played pretty well. I mean, a score could be worse. The only first downs that Kansas State has had has been on 2 penalties.
Amon Green is the I-back behind Schuster. Barges to the 28-yard line. Now here are the Huskers' possessions in the first half. 2 quick field goals with the wind at their back. And there you can see their touchdown. That was an 80-yard drive for that score. And then they follow it up with 2 more Brown field goals and 18 points. So Amon Green limps off to the sideline. And because of the injury suffered by Damon Benning, who is not here, the freshman Evans into the backfield, and he twists his way to the 31-yard line, and what appeared to be another Nebraska first down. Going to be close. Jerome Evans there defensively, and Green over on the side adjusting his shoe, and it was a first down, Huskers.
Travis Oakes, the linebacker, outside linebacker for the Wildcats that got hurt in the second quarter, is not back in the football game, and that can really hurt him, especially as good of blockers as Nebraska has at that tight end position.
Damian McIntosh, the freshman defensive tackle, dashes onto the field, and he'll line up on the right side defensively now for the Wildcats. Here comes Evans again on the toss, on a cutback, gone! Won't catch him! Put it on the scoreboard! D'Angelo breaks loose! A star waiting to happen.
Get outside and turn the corner and break up through like that, people at the point of attack have to be doing a good job. Travis Oakes, starting outside linebackers, have been playing there, not in there. They have Joe Clements, a young sophomore, number 46, playing at that spot. That time he got drilled by the big tight end, Tim Carpenter.
Chris Brown adds the point.
Heads to Ohio State for a battle with the Buckeyes or other regional action next Saturday on ABC's College Football.
There were 2 great blocks on that touchdown run. Right here, Carpenter doing a good job. Zadiska, the guard, coming around and sealing off right there. Just annihilated the defense at the point of attack. They tossed it. Look at Carpenter knocking him off the ball. Zadiska created that lane up inside, and then it was all over. You're going to make this guy the Heisman Trophy winner here by the end of this game, aren't you?
Well, Ron Paulus failed me miserably, but this young man has got a chance. How many? No, I'm not going to do that to him. I promised D'Angelo I'm not going to do it. So here comes Brown now with a kickoff. It is 25-3. O-line drive, bounces, fielded at the 4-yard line by Jimmy Dean. Well, Monday night, it's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and look who's joined Dick Vermeil, the president, the general manager, Carl Peterson. We won't have to ask him, Dick, who he thinks is going to win, but can the Chiefs bounce back with this big one on Monday night, huh?
Hey, Carl, you're coming off your first loss. You're in 4-1. Can they rebound and come in? You know, Cowher's going to bring those Steelers in red hot.
They are, Dick, and we're going to rebound, but I know Bill Cowher will have them wired. Of course, he was our defensive coordinator and did a great job with us for a number of years. They're a great football team. They're defending AFC champions, and we know this is Monday night in Kansas City.
Yeah, tough night in Kansas City.
It'll be a big, loud night.
Yes, it will.
Well, 1st and 10. Stick right with us here, Carl. From the shotgun, Kavanaugh on 1st down, and he throws a completion to Dean. He is out of bounds to Jackaroot.
Well, Brent, we've had a change on the offensive line for the Kansas State University Wildcats. Ross Greenwood is back in. Now remember, he had to serve a suspension for the first half of this game for being ejected from the Rice game. Now the story there was, the way the NCAA rules read is if you are ejected after the end of the half, you have to sit out the next half of the next game you play. It happened early in the third quarter. Greenwood sat out the first half. He's back in there now.
And on his first play, Kansas State with its first down, not by penalty. So here it is, the ball at the 38-yard line. Kavanaugh down deep, incomplete. Well, Carl, you just had a chance to watch the freshman from Wichita. He broke all of Barry Sanders' records. I know you like to watch. What'd you think of the young man on that run?
Well, he's exciting. And, of course, Barry Sanders at Wichita, Kansas, had a great or I should say, having a great pro career. This is a great-looking young man, though, and there's a lot of talent on both sides of the field. Obviously, K-State's got to have some offense in the second half here to get back in this game.
How many Huskers are on the Chiefs roster?
We have 4 Huskers, and 3 of them are starters, so we're excited about that. Of course, Neil Smith, the All-Pro, is the best, and Will Shields. We've got always room for more, though, and as well as K-Staters.
Well, you promised to leave the freshmen at school, right?
Absolutely. Bill Snyder, we promise.
Both teams, Kavanaugh under pressure, gets this one off. Carl, we want to thank you very much. Good luck on Monday night.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate it, and we're going to hopefully put on a good show for ABC.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, Dick.
Hey, Marty Schuttner always puts on a good show on Monday night. You know that.
True.
And every other weekend.
So, Dick, there was Grosdidier, Jared Grosdidier, making the reception for K-State. They find the tight end here.
He's been banged up. That's why he didn't start. He had been starting and banged up. They bring him in right now. He's a big 6'5" guy and a good football player. Maybe a little bit better receiver than Swift. But what they did that time is they gave Kavanaugh a lot of time.
3rd and 4 for K-State.
They're coming after him with zone.
Crushed at the 32-yard line.
What they did is they ran a zone blitz. Now, what I mean, ladies and gentlemen, they drop the tackles out and bring the outside linebackers. And believe it or not, a 6'6", 300-pound nose guard is dropping. Here he is right here. He will drop out. He will not rush. You draw the block. He'll step, draw. Now they bring the people off the corner, loop the tackles, and that's tough pass protection.
John Hess, the Mike, middle linebacker, making the play for the Huskers. So on 4th down, Garcia, we've seen 2 punters. He'll be the nervous one right now.
Boy, they take a long time to punt the football.
Fielded at the 23-yard line by Fullman. Looks for an alley, and he's down at the 28-yard line.
They take an awfully long time to get it off.
Penalty flag thrown at the 46-yard line. Referee sorts it out. Evans still on the field. Jack Arute, is Green's injury serious?
No, Brent, it's what we call turf toe, and you know it always crops up when we go to an artificial turf field. But let me show you what the trainers have done for Ahman Green. Do you see this insole here? What they do is it has a little steel pad. They insert this inside of his shoe. It keeps it more rigid so that the big toe doesn't jam anymore and cuts down on the severity of the turf toe.
All right, Jack, and during that explanation, the ball was brought back to the 14-yard line. You can see what happens to Green, and what Jack is talking about occurred right there.
You know, and that, that can linger through a season. Believe me, we've seen that, and I've had the experience with players that get that. It can bother you for a long time. They came here without their number 2 running back, Damon Benning, that's banged up and couldn't make the trip this weekend. They can't afford to lose him.
So now Schuster, the fullback, he's in front of Evans. Osborne and his staff with a 25-3 lead. They will start to work on the clock.
They got a huge split at the right guard position there. Maybe they're going to try to run in there. Yeah, they are.
Evans steps to the right.
You could see that from up here. Many times the defensive player can read that big split and step up in there and fill it. Again, it's a safety, strong safety coming up in there and making the play. When you have corners that can play man-to-man like both of these teams do, it frees up your safeties to be much more aggressive in run defense. You can actually get 9 people defense in the run, and both teams are really doing that.
2nd down and 7. Option. Frost keeps it. 1st down, 29-yard line. Nebraska on the move. Well, at the conclusion of the game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. And to date, Chevrolet has awarded nearly $6 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Fogel shaken up. Right forearm.
He has been playing awfully well. As I've said, they have a true freshman, Terrell Williams, backing him up. He's going to have to suck it up and play, but he's hurting.
Here's the toss. Evans slashes through to the 38-yard line. Dick, I think you're starting to see what was pretty apparent the first time you watched this young man. The other thing that's impressive for a freshman, true freshman, he does not look like a fumbler at all.
Here's Big Schuster. When you've got a fullback that'll block like these guys do, see, they either knock you down or take you right up underneath the chin and knock you back. You can advance the ball. I think you could make 4 or 5 yards of carry behind that fullback.
I couldn't keep that ball wrapped up like that young man just did. Evans, 10 carries. He's over 100 yards now.
Oh, you're excited about
Schuster.
that. I know that.
To the 45-yard line.
You're a piece of work. Whenever you see a good young player, you get so excited about it. You know, he's got 3 more years to play after this one.
Now, this is Eric Anderson. His jersey was torn, so the only one they could find that was almost big enough was number 61. And so they put it on, and no 70 to be found. And there's Big Eric down there, in case you folks were wondering on that. Now, who's that 61 down there? That's Big Eric. Now it's 1st down at the Husker 45-yard line. Toss. Evans waits behind Schuster, slides to midfield, and John Saunders is Cal keeping it up against the Trojans.
Indeed they are, although they might have got a little bit of help here. DeLon Washington looks like he's down at the 2 as he's hit by Brandon Whiting. The knee comes down, and then the ball comes loose. And they call it a fumble just the same. Nate Gelder recovers in the end zone. Cal is out at a field goal, 19-zip.
Steve Mariucci's California Bears beat the Trojans. They'll be running him for governor out there.
You're as excited about a good young coach as I am about a good young running back.
That's right, I am.
Second down, here's Evans. And the timing was tripped up. Nice tackle that time. And that was Lance Grace. He's a freshman too, 96. So freshman on freshman, they'll meet up again down the road.
Yeah, and they need those young tackles in there to rotate in there, because those offensive guards are both at 300 or better. Zadiska's only listed at 290, but I believe he's bigger than that. And those big guys coming off you can wear you down. Now, Coach Snyder wasn't worried about him being worn down physically. He was worried about him being worn down mentally.
Dick, here comes 3rd and 5. Audible. Shotgun look, Nebraska. Frost cut back middle, short of the 1st down.
For some reason, Jerome Evans is late in lining up. He was still in a 2-point stance when they snapped the ball. Big fella, get your butt in gear. You might as well run there all day if you're going to be standing there. My gosh. He was standing in a 2-point stance waiting to get lined up in the ball snap.
Evans is happy you're not grading the films.
I'll guarantee his defensive coaches, Mike Stoops and the likes, and his defensive line coach, Mo Latimer, who's played a lot of downs of football himself here at Kansas State, will get after him.
So Jesse Cush from Columbus, Nebraska. Back to punt again, and Canty standing back on the Wildcats' 11-yard line. High, good-looking punt. Fair catch. Canty backs up. It's brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Jack Arute and Dick Vermeil. I'm Brian Musburger. Manhattan, Kansas on a lovely Saturday afternoon. But it is all red and not purple here so far. 25-3. The Huskers with the lead. Kansas State with the ball now. Brian Cavanaugh, the senior from Naperville, Illinois, continues to call plays at the line of scrimmage. Justin Swift, 86, is a stand-up tight end. Iback is deep and on a roll. Kavanaugh play fake, lots of time, right side, intercepted at the 31-yard line. Ball is picked off by Michael Booker of Oceanside, California. And Booker out of bounds, and a penalty flag now is thrown after he was out of bounds.
What he tried to do after play action, he had a lot of time, the nice play action. He gets out there, it's a two-man pattern, and he tried to get the ball over the top of a defender. He got it over one, but not the second one. They were layered underneath, in front, and behind, and he couldn't do it. Last year, Michael Booker picked one off against Kansas State. He likes playing against these guys.
And then they push. Personal foul. Kavanaugh and Coach Snyder on the far sideline.
You know, Bill Snyder, head coach, is very involved in everything that goes on off. Everything that goes on offensively and defensively, but it really is, you know, a former offensive coordinator the 10 years at Iowa and did a lot of great things offensively, and they've been moving the ball offensively prior to this football game, but they haven't met a defense like this one. Oh, what a fine, fine football coach. He is, I really think he has redefined what great preparation, great detail is all about in coaching for the college level.
It appears as though Jay Sims has checked in at Iback. And we get confirmation that's who it is. Fake to him. Frost in zone. Almost intercepted by Canty. He doesn't normally drop one when he has his hands on it like that.
You know, in the man-to-man coverage, they run the play action, but the safeties now are sitting back there a little bit more cautiously, and Clyde Johnson was sitting there, and Canty just fell right off back inside there, too. Here comes big Chris Dishman. 6'3", 310, at least 310. Where's the beef? There he is, right there. Didn't get his head shaved. What's wrong with him?
Two tight ends. Slot left for the Huskers. Here's Sims. Great ball. Frost picks it up. And he's buried at the 17-yard line. He's helped up by Canty.
Good change-up call. They brought the outside linebacker. That's 42, Mark Semino, coming in there. He'll appear right to the right side of the screen. There he is. He whipped the blocker, got there. They tried to pick him up, but he was coming at full speed ahead, and wham, he makes the play. Good change up for the defense. They don't like the blitz too much against Nebraska.
Sims is replaced by Evans. 3rd down and 18. Makovica set in front of the freshman Iback. Frost rolls right. Fires incomplete. Chris Brown time.
See, they want to get the quarterback out of the pocket, which is your basic passing game. Tom Osborne told us yesterday that they've cut back on the amount of offense. They don't have a Frazier anymore at quarterback, an experienced guy right there, and they don't have the full package. Last year at this time, they would have gone into their shotgun formation and thrown the ball. Not today.
Huge day for him as he now sets up for his 5th field goal. Ball will be put down at the 24, so this will be a 34-yarder.
If he makes this, he'll be 8 for 8 on the year.
Boy, he kicks that ball high. Missed that time.
I jinxed him. You know, and the ball didn't come off with the velocity that his other kicks came up to. He got a little too far underneath it, and it popped up on him a little bit more than his other kicks. Just gets it outside there to the left as we look at it come down. Good defensive series right there. To turn the ball over and shut Nebraska out down there, that's a real good job.
25-3. In case you just joined us, Nebraska jumped ahead 6-0. K-State kicked a field goal following an interception. That made it 6-3, but that's as close as they've been. Now they run Anderson to the 22-yard line for the Wildcats of Kansas State before he is stopped. But pretty much it has been the story of the kicking game for Nebraska and also some outstanding defense. Take a look at the offensive production at the bottom. 33 plays, 110 yards in 17 minutes and 41 seconds. Wow, what a defense here today.
That's less than a yard per minute. Even I can figure that out.
Some of the great ones down there. Terrell Farley rejoins the starting unit. He's played big. Now they come off the corners this time, and a good call as Anderson, who's got a little speed, runs to the 36-yard line at a K-State first down.
You know what they did is they caught him in an outside linebacker blitz. Here you'll see him coming from the outside to your left side of your screen. He'll be coming here, and they'll get up underneath the blitz. There's the blitz there, and he gets back up underneath it. Good running adjustment by Anderson. And as I said earlier, he's a receiver that they're training to be a running back in high school, not in college.
Now watch the black shirts sit down. 4 down, 2 in the gaps. Safety up pressing. At the line, they run the end around. He's going nowhere. Big Grant Wistrom, number 98, was not to be fooled by that play.
You know, you can't fool a defensive player most of the time, like a quality of him physically, but he's a very bright guy, academic, all big. He's a pre-pharmacy major, 3.6 grade point average. Here he is right at the bottom of your screen. Ball goes away. He's paused. He's disciplined. He's sitting there, keeps his base. Nice job. A good, intelligent football player.
And he delivers an 11-yard loss. That's his prescription that time for Mr. Wistrom. There's their average yards per rush. 2nd down and 21. 4 rushers. Down the middle goes Kavanaugh. And it's intercepted at the 30-yard line on a ricochet. Number 22, Ralph Brown, picks it off.
Brian Kavanaugh is throwing the ball, hoping it's going to be complete, Brent. There was a free safety sitting down there all the way down. You'll see the free safety right back here on your screen. He's sitting back there. You should be able to throw a post pattern down inside there like that with the safety sitting there. Here it is. He'll come from the left side of your screen. Boom. He's just waiting for it to come down. Really wasn't double coverage, just good safety play all the way. Should not
off Eric Stokes' hands. He touches it first. And then there's Brown, the freshman, making the pick. Fullback Makovica to the 35. And let's check in with John Saunders and the Burger King play of the day.
All right, thank you, Brent. It could only be from your alma mater, Northwestern against Michigan. Brian Goins with 13 seconds remaining, 39-yard field goal, part of 17 unanswered points for Northwestern in the 4th quarter as they beat Michigan 17-16. That's your Burger King play of the day, Brent.
All right, John, and here, Nebraska with a handful of outstanding plays, including one by this youngster. Angelo Evans now dances his way to the 44-yard line. That's a 9-yard gain and a first down. Jack, what's the latest on Dishman?
Well, Brent, what he did is on his right hand, he jammed his thumb backwards. So now the staff has taken the glove off. They've iced it down. They taped it back up. Chris was in a very, very big hurry because he wanted to get out for this offensive line. But they said, just wait this one out. We'll send you back in.
4 minutes and 5 seconds remain here in the 3rd quarter. Frost going to have to back up and go the other way. Outstanding runner. And Frost is thrown down at the 49-yard line by Canty.
Very good outside linebacker play. The outside linebacker, that's Oaks back in the football game, and he worked upfield, and they couldn't get outside, forced him to run. What it amounted to was a delayed quarterback reverse.
Johnson, the strong safety, is injured on the play. Dick, let's go back to the top of the broadcast. The first question I posed was that we had a very interesting matchup of quarterbacks. Here we had Frost coming off that terrible loss a couple weeks ago for Nebraska down at Arizona State. He'd beaten Colorado State coming to this game. Kavanaugh, the veteran. Assess the 2 quarterbacks' play to this point in this game.
Well, of course, Kavanaugh has not thrown the ball well at all. regardless. And he's had some guys open. He's missed them. He's made some poor decisions in throwing the ball downfield for interceptions. Now, Frost has thrown the ball adequately, not great. He's had some opportunities to make some bigger plays, but he has a better supporting cast around him because he, too, can run the football. Right now, as we've seen all through the ball game, Kansas State hasn't been able to complement the passing game with any kind of run.
If you go back and look at a box score of that Arizona State game, the one thing that Arizona State did with a very disappointed Brian Kavanaugh watching is that Jake Plummer scored first. Oh, here's Evans. Penalty flag down. He flashed through that hole to the 39-yard line, but a penalty flag was thrown by the linesman as he checks in now with the referee. But when you go back, when you get ahead of a team like Nebraska, which has not had a lot of experience throwing the ball, it was an entirely different kind of ball game than what we've seen here.
Defense. Decline.
That's declined. Evans's gain stands, and the yards continue to pile up for the freshman.
Here's a nice job of what we call zone blocking principles of a center and guard coming off together, and then the center. Now the center playing in their right is Heskew because they moved Aaron Taylor to left guard. But good coaching there by Milt Tenoport, teaching those linemen how to zone block people. Two guys on one, then come off on the second guy. Good technique.
The ball at the Kansas State 39-yard line, and Frost makes the call at the line now. Trap. And it's Macavicka. Bangs to the 34-yard line. That's a gain of 5.
You know who has played well defensively is Mark Seminoff. He has done a real good job. He's a redshirt freshman outside linebacker, and that time he just flashed in the play, and I've seen him do it about 4 or 5 times in the ball game. He's been playing awfully well. His brother Jeff was the starting nose tackle at Kansas State in 1992, so he has some pride in the school, and he's demonstrating it right now.
2nd and 5. Evans on the toss. Cuts back and brought down at the 31-yard line by Jerome Evans.
You know, Jerome Evans did a real nice job from the backside defensive tackle position that time. They were running all the way across the field away from him, and he came right down the line of scrimmage. He had blockers on him. He whipped the blockers, and he made the play. Nice job, Jerome.
Kenny Cheatham brings the play in from the Nebraska sideline, and he will split out to the left. This is a 3rd and 3 for the Huskers. Nebraska 25, Kansas State 3 here in Manhattan. Evans busts away, moves to the 29-yard line.
You know what he saw? He saw the linebacker attack the point of attack in football, and he, without even thinking about it, his feet did what his eyes saw, and he bounced right to daylight. Did an awfully nice job of doing that. He saw that linebacker coming. No one told him he was coming. He just saw it.
You can't teach the great ones to bounce. They've got that instinct. Jack Root.
Well, Brett, you know, we've been watching Nebraska for so many years and impressed with their offensive line. Not only how big they are, but consider also just how fast they are. Well, there's a reason for that. Their weight training, their dietary training, and most importantly, the 10-yard dash is so very important at Nebraska, not only for the whole team, but specifically for the offensive line. They time the 10, and it's a mark of honor if you can be the fastest in the 10. Why just 10 yards? Well, the coaches feel that's where you need optimum performance when you're a big, ugly lineman.
Yeah, you got to beat the others to the chow table. Got to get there. 1st and 10 for the 29-yard line. Evans, and this time it is jammed up, and he battles his way back to the original line of scrimmage, so he doesn't go down easily for a freshman either.
Well, he's got that low center of gravity, 5'9", 210 pounds. Boy, he's growing up fast. But I'll tell you this, if I were going to be a true freshman running back and get to play in a game, I'd just soon play for Nebraska. I'd say, you know.
Lots of reasons. They're all 300 pounds.
They're all 300 pounds. They're very well coached, and they come off the ball, and they have good schemes and designs, and, hey, it'd be fun. I'd look pretty good. No, I wouldn't, but, I mean, most guys would.
2nd down and 10. Option look, and Frost will keep it. Banged out at the 22-yard line by Mario Smith. So Baltimore and the Yankees head for the American League Championship Series. A wild card makes it to the American League Final. The Baltimore Orioles playing well down the stretch to get a wild card berth, and now they'll go to the League Championship Series. 3rd down and 2.
Husker line now is sort of dominating the line of scrimmage all the way across.
Makovica, the fullback. A fake to Evans. Got a man in the end zone. Touchdown. Delayed call, but it was for Sean Jackson. The officials looked at each other to make sure that one foot was inbound.
Well, he's the only tight end that really has caught a touchdown. But the tight ends have only came into this ball game with 3 receptions. And Vershawn had one of them. It was real good play action. And that time, Scott Frost demonstrated ability to throw the football. And I think that's what Tom Osborne just told him. He put a little touch on the football, laid it up over the top. Did a nice job.
Coach, how about the fact that he waited just a fraction of a second too long?
No, I think he was ready to read and get the air under the ball and lay it in over the top.
Take your word for it.
A split second sooner, though, would have been better. Good observation. I'm off the line of scrimmage right here, but you can see with the action in here, it really draws the linebacker, and that's how he got in behind the linebackers quickly and then on to the safety. See, you'll see there, right there, that was Mark Semino stepping up, and here he is reaching up there and making a nice play over the top of Mario Smith.
No
both
question.
left foot was in there, no question. Good call by the official. And he gets nailed right at the end. Good poise, pause, and he laid it up. See, the reason he took a little more time, he was looking for a backside receiver coming across as well. And he didn't get there, so he lays it to the touchdown guy.
It was a 10-play drive, Coach, and that's the only pass play. And the first completion of the half for Frost. 21 yards for the score. And now it's K-State's turn. Out for the end zone. Then Andre Anderson buried at the 17-yard line.
Nebraska using their best players on kickoff coverage. John Hess, the starting inside linebacker, making that play. Wow, what a hit.
Southern Cal scores and adds the deuce. And Georgia Tech continuing to hold that lead on Virginia. That would be an upset. Final 38.9 seconds left here in quarter number 3. Split backs, and they run Lawrence into a big hole with Warfield, who blocked the punt earlier today, making the stop for the Huskers.
We have different defensive ends in there right now. Tomic is out, Wistrom's out. We have Rucker in at right end. We have Chad Kelsey in at left end. They run the draw underneath him right off the bat.
When Nebraska builds a big lead like this, they're able to use a lot of people, and it works out so well for them down the road as they continue to reload. Nebraska doesn't rebuild, they reload. And now the new quarterback is Jonathan Beasley as we come to the end of the quarter, and we'll be back for the final quarter. Well, this is Amon Green, the star running back of Nebraska. The preliminary report was that he had suffered a turf toe, but Jack Arute, that's not necessarily how they carry off someone with a turf toe.
Well, Brent, as we watched Amon Green be carted off and inserted into the ambulance, I talked to Amon as he went off, and he said, when I came off, they kept telling me, hey, it's just a turf toe. But he said, guys, I heard it crunch, and it didn't sound good. It certainly didn't feel good. He says, I think I might have broken my toe. Now, we can't confirm that, but we can confirm that they've taken him away to the hospital for x-rays.
All right, Jack, thank you. And now Jonathan Beasley. He is a true freshman out of Glendale, Arizona. Arizona State also sought him out, and he elected to come here. Quarterback draw, throws, and he had an open man.
He is a very mobile athlete. Watching him on the practice field the other day, has good feet, good quick arm, and he's picked up the offense very quick. He surprised the coaches. They don't have a lot of depth at that position. They had another quarterback that they lost at that position, so he has to take the responsibility.
There goes the ambulance coach taking Green to the hospital here for x-rays. Nebraska fans holding their breath here. So it is 3rd down and 5.
See, they can run the quarterback draw and that kind of stuff with this guy.
And running away from it running for his life. And the only question here, Dick, is a freshman, is he in over his head against one of the better defenses in the land? Now, this is 4th down, and they will have to punt in this situation.
A lot easier, like Evans coming in as a freshman running back, than a true freshman quarterback stepping in against the defense like this. Plus, he doesn't have the same supporting cast. A lot tougher on him.
Garcia trots back on. This is one of the major breakdowns for the Wildcats when they dissect this game, and one of the reasons why they find themselves 32-3 trailing. It's because of the failure of the kicking game. And did they take too much time? Well, they back it up and lose 5 more yards, and that, of course, would be another failure. They sure did. How about Navy? 64 points today. And Syracuse. Pittsburgh beating Temple in a game in which over 100 points were scored in that one. Now, never mind, this man may lose big here today. Great sadness with the loss of their defensive coordinator, who was hospitalized, has been unconscious in a hospital here. Now Garcia, another lousy punt. McFarland tries to twist free, and he is down at the 46 use of the Big Red Machine from Nebraska. So now with 14:39 to go, a 32-3 ball game. Scott Frost brings the Huskers up at the Kansas State 46-yard line. D'Angelo Evans, who has rushed for 134 yards, is the lone running back. Coming right, beats the first tackler, comes down the sideline, freezes a man, and gets to the 24-yard line. You thought I was going overboard. You thought maybe I was raving too much about it.
They did a real good job in 2 different areas on this counter play. They did a good job blocking here, and they did a good job of pulling the guard and the tackle all the way around. You see Pollock, 73 at 305 pounds, gets out there, and he can't find anybody to block.
You are seeing the making of a star here this afternoon. That's 157 yards for the freshman. 14:22 to go. Schuster.
You know, it's really misleading, though, sometimes evaluating Nebraska running backs, because they all make so many yards and they all average so many yards a carry. The supporting cast with those offensive linemen and everything is so good. Good blocking tight ends, good blocking wide receivers. They do a great job of getting a body on everybody on defense. And sometimes a running back may not be a great one, but he looks better. Now, I think we've got the birth of a real good young one, as you've said many times, Brent, in D'Angelo Evans. But, boy, he has a lot of help.
Dick, I'm watching moves, though, when he gets on defensive guys. I'm watching shake and bake. Things that I don't expect to see a freshman come up with. On second down, get in behind a blocker like that, and then just bury his helmet and make his way to the point. I have not seen a freshman this impressive in a long, long time.
Well, he's going to be a good one. And he may be playing a lot more this year if I'm on Green's foot. You know, he goes out in an ambulance like that. It's not a good sign. Boy, Seminole going off the field. He has played well today.
3rd down and a yard. Schuster steps his way, then Powers to the 5-yard line.
See, that time the key to that play was Corey Mykos did a real nice job. And, you know, their centers are always very good. And they've had a problem there right now. But John Heskew, a junior, comes off there on zone and then wheels back. So he comes off zone, protects that outside gap, then cuts and wheels back with his left shoulder and cuts off a defender, giving him that lane.
Taylor, all-conference guard, snapping the ball across. Evans battles his way toward the end zone. And he's got another one. Touchdown, Huskers. Oh, what a day for that youngster.
Carries, 160 yards, 8 average. He's almost up to the average per carry he had in high school at 10.6. There'll be games that he'll average that running for Nebraska.
Brown hammers the extra point. On ABC Sports, brought to you by the new Ford Expedition, the only way to get there. Chili's Grill and Bar, home of the Big Mouth Burgers. Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. And State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Anderson deep.
Number 25, Andre Anderson. Number 22,
With that breeze, no chance. Chris Brown. Let's check in with John Saunders. John.
Brent, Georgia Tech trying to hang on against Virginia and knock them from the ranks of the unbeaten. Joe Hamilton rolls out, tosses the pass. Stephen Phelan steps in front of it, comes up with the interception. Their second INT of the day. Now 34 consecutive games. Georgia Tech's turned it over 4 times. Brent.
John, here comes Tiki Barber and friends for the Cavaliers. Keep an eye on them, partner. He's a good one, too. 1st and 10 here now for the Wildcats, who've been outmanned. This is their second quarterback, freshman Jonathan Beasley from the state of Arizona. Gets time, throws underneath, complete to Lawrence, the running back. Jack, tell us a little bit more about Beasley.
Well, Brett, they list Beasley at 210 pounds, but Jonathan arrived here in Manhattan weighing in, can you believe it, 236 pounds. It seems that what happened is he was on an all-star football team that traveled throughout Australia, and down under, he packed it on. And they tell the story that when he got here, he showed up in the quarterback room, and they said, no, you belong in the lineman, with the lineman. But he's back down to 210 now, and he's got the controls.
Some of the Outback steaks, baked potatoes, butter, sour cream.
A lot of butter putting on that much food.
2nd down and 5 for Beasley and the Wildcats. And Lawrence holds on to the ball.
You know,
adding about a yard.
Adding to that story, I had a chance to visit with him the other day, and he told me he was accused of putting it all on just on that trip, but he said he worked pretty hard on it prior to that trip, too. He was enjoying himself, getting out of high school and partying. And
I know a question Nebraska fans want answered. Can the Huskers come back and win a 3rd national championship under Tom Osborne with 1 loss? The answer is yes. And ironically, what might help them is something that Dr. Tom was opposed to, and that is the Big 12 championship game. I mean, think about this. If the Big 10 starts to eat each other up, already Michigan has lost, Penn State has lost, Arizona State has a minefield out of the Pac-10, then this defense of Nebraska's could make it back as Beasley turns in a nice gain and a 1st down here for Kansas State. So a very interesting scenario still awaits the Cornhuskers in the rest of the season. To answer it in a word, can they win with 1 loss, a 3rd straight national championship? The answer is definitely yes. They can get to New Orleans.
you can see how tough it is to throw the ball on Nebraska. They just don't give any time. They sack you, they pressure you, they intercept you, or knock it down. So over 50% of the time.
Remember, this is a unbeaten Kansas State team that they are manhandling here today. Beasley, good runner, takes off. And he's down at the 36-yard line. That's a gain of 3 yards. And Chad Kelsey from Auburn, Nebraska, off the bench, makes the stop at the Jackaroo.
Remember before the second half started, Coach was telling us about how we were down at FSU, and they talked about the clinic that Charlie McBride put on. Well, they didn't just go to FSU. People have flocked to Lincoln, Nebraska, trying to find out about this defense. Listen to a list of teams that have shown up. Tennessee, Ohio State, Virginia Tech. We told you about Florida State, and those are just the top teams. They said there was over 30.
Here's Beasley on a roll, and almost intercepted there on that far side by Mike Fullman.
Boy, he did a beautiful job of jumping that out pattern. See, they really haven't threatened them deep, any one of these guys, but one time in the ball game, so they feel comfortable of just sitting in there and playing those 12 to 13-yard breaking patterns. Beasley gets back. You know, he wants to run the ball when he gets back there. He takes one look, and he wants to get out of there.
Personal foul, offense.
So a personal foul now against Kansas State. And let's take a look at the prime time lineup tonight here on ABC. New episode of Second Noah, Coach, with its premiere a week ago. Common Law, and then Relativity. A lot of favorable talk about Relativity all tonight. It'll start at 7 Central Time on the network. So with the personal foul, the ball is going to be brought back to the 22-yard line. This is a 3rd and 21 for the youngster.
Well, Kansas State has attempted 25 passes in this ball game. Nebraska's pressured them 5 times. They've sacked them 3 times. They've intercepted them twice, and they deflected 3. Outstanding defense. And that's why everybody's going to talk to Charlie McBride, find out how he does it. Better try to steal some of those good athletes, too.
Beasley fires on the slant. Dean trying to break free, and he is down at the 34-yard line, short of the first down. And so Kansas State forced the punt again, and this time I believe it's Romano. So we've had shuffling punters for Kansas State here today. Bowman set to return. Now Warfield comes in. Nebraska may not have had 11 men on the field. That can happen when you get a big lead and you start shuffling your defensive players around. Keep in mind that Warfield, who's a starter on defense, is also on that punt team. So he was over on the sideline, and he just sort of assumed, which you should never do, that they were going to send somebody in for him, and he's kind of dozing back there talking to his teammates. He'll hear about that in the film session, as now they have 11 men on the field.
I'll tell you what, we found a weakness. In the 4th quarter, they only put 10 guys in the field once.
Now, Florida State goes later tonight against Clemson. We've told you about that game on ESPN. The Buckeyes winning big. They're going to hold the fort. They even jump, depending on what happens to Florida State. The Gators win again. Penn State falls back. Arizona State, Boise State. That should be an easy W. Michigan falls. Nebraska with an impressive win. So regardless, they are going to move at least one spot and probably vault past Penn State. So we are now talking about a Nebraska team, because they didn't fall too far after the loss to Arizona State. I think that was absolutely critical. Now in the bottom 10, you can see Virginia having, or I should say the next 10, not the bottom 10. Virginia with their hands full, losing to Georgia Tech. USC being upset. Washington going later against Stanford. That's a team that could move up in the Pac-10. And now you see Northwestern. They'll probably jump into the top 20 with that very impressive comeback against Michigan. And don't overlook the Utes, folks. I mean, that team's exciting. You get a chance to watch them. You watch Coach McBride, and you watch Dan Fouts' nephew. He can light it up. 9:43 left here in the 4th quarter. A little yellow flag over here. But I think Nebraska fans are going to find themselves sitting real pretty next week.
And deservedly so, Brent. This is an excellent football team. And see what they've got. The ability from a defensive standpoint to play tight man-to-man coverage. And college teams do not handle that kind of coverage very well. They don't see it very often. And they've got the great pass rush. So if you hold the ball, they sack.
Don't bet against Nebraska playing the champion of the state of Florida for the national championship. Romano in trouble again. It's a good thing that I believe Mr. Farley was watching that punt. He'd have never had a chance again. Takes a bounce and a little bit of a game. Let's talk about now Coach Snyder and getting this team to regroup. They were 4-0, and they're being pounded pretty good here at home.
Well, you know, it's the third year in a row they've been 4-0. And I think Snyder did not come into this ball game basing his whole season's success on this one football game. He's too smart a football coach to do that. He knew what he was up against. He expected to play a lot better, and I think he thought he had a shot of winning. You break down the kicking game like they've broken down in that first half, you lose a lot of football games. Most football games you coach in. But they will regroup and come back and play well next week.
Matt Turman from Wahoo, Nebraska, the 5'11 senior. In for a shift. Sims is his eye back. Runs the eye toss. Breaks a tackle. Looks good. Why not? There's a freshman moving up that depth chart, and Sims battles his way to the 47-yard line.
You know who's still really playing well that was injured in the first half and's back out there now is Travis Oaks, the outside linebacker. He really did a nice job on that, and he had a lot of white and red all around him, but he battled his butt off, and he did an awfully good job. You can see why he was Big 8 freshman of the Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Second down and 2. Oh, and the fullback is stopped short of a first down. Let's check in now with John Saunders. John?
Brent, USC trying to mount a comeback against Cal. 4th and goal at the 7. Brad Otten spots Rodney Sermons. He has the touchdown. They kick the extra point, now trail by just 7 with about 4 minutes to go. We'll keep you up to date on that one. Another upset brewing. Georgia Tech trying to hold off Virginia late. Brent.
John, two very interesting stories unfolding there. Don't bet against Mr. Brad Otten. If he gets the ball late and starts downhill, he got pretty good deep arm, partner. Sims on a cutback. Short of the first down. In fact, that's a loss of about 3 yards. And that means there'll be a punt. We check in with Jackaroo. Jack?
Well, Brent, you know how always I go around campus and try and find what the latest hat is to wear? Check this one out on Manhattan. But I also had one shipped in from Lincoln. What do you think?
That's wonderful.
That's an upgrade.
That's the old cornhead there, kid. Oh, and as a Nebraska fan might say, well, get alive, you know, huh? Oh, yeah, they're rolling, rocking and rolling in Lincoln. Have a good time tonight. You got a great football team and a great coach, good fans over there. In fact, they're just, what, by a couple hours? Is that what it takes? Our stage manager
2.5 hours, I think they said. 2.5 hours.
Kristen Whitted, she's on the track team up there at the University of Nebraska, runs the 800 meters, about a little over 2 hours, if you don't speed, right, Kristen? Time out. We'll be right back.
Was that her 800 time?
Back in Manhattan with Nebraska punting here and 7:40 remaining in the game with the Huskers rolling 39-3, keeping alive a streak against Kansas State that dates back to the 60s. The last K-State win was authored by quarterback Lynn Dickey. Cush punting again here for Coach Osborne. And into the end zone where it'll come out on the 20-yard line. So let's take a look at the ABC Sports football schedule next week. Ohio State, the Bucks rolling. Arizona State, how good are they? Oklahoma and Texas. Alabama goes in to play North Carolina State. Regional coverage, 2:30 Central Time. We'll take the air, and of course the game you're not seeing in your area, you know, call your cable operator, get your hands on that little dish, check them in, and also John Saunders will have the highlights of all the other games and the scores as the day unfolds. Well, here's young Beasley here, Mr. Vermeil.
Well, he's not facing the same people on defense, so it's a little bit easier to look better. He's getting a little time. He sets up and throws a good curl pattern about 5 feet over the top of a fine wide receiver who didn't get to demonstrate his abilities today, Kevin Lockett.
You know, we have been raving about D'Angelo Evans, and when you look back at his collegiate high school career from Wichita, Kansas, a 4.35 40, a 355-pound bench press, a 570-pound squat, and a 40-inch vertical leap. I mean, that young man came with some ability, didn't he? And he said, I've always loved Nebraska. It was an easy choice coming here. Notre Dame and Penn State also went into the finals, but he selected Nebraska, and he exploded here today. Another freshman, Beasley, carries it on out for a first down, K-State.
Real good job of a fullback picking up a blitzing linebacker. Matt Gangwish that time did a nice job of picking the guy up, gave him that little hole to get up inside there and advance the ball.
All right, Brent, thanks.
A first down for Kansas State here, but now, after 2 unsuccessful plays, they face a 3rd and 8 with young Beasley here at the controls. K-State. 6:20 to go. Charles is the one running back here. Fires complete to Anderson. First down. Wildcats at the 49-yard line.
That's a nice quick delivery. He gets back. He's a good athlete. He gets back. He sets up quickly. He can throw it if he has the time, and playing against the looser coverages, it's a lot easier.
Kansas State kicked an early field goal, and that was it for the Wildcats offensively here today against this talented defense, which now is enjoying the luxury of playing their backups down the stretch with the last 5:53 to go. Beasley off the play fake, steps away, the ability, open field. 45, slides to the 42-yard line. So Georgia Tech upsets Virginia 13-7. Good coach down there, Georgia Tech. Really turned that program around, Coach.
He has done a great job. There's another good football coach right there. A little bit frustrated. Nobody's immune to games like this against Nebraska. Just when you think you might be close enough to knock them off, they jump up and say, hey, you might be a couple years away.
And a legend on the other sideline.
You know, he is the college football what I think John Wooden was the college basketball. That's all there is to it. He's built a great program with a great tradition. And as you
game report featuring scores and highlights from across the country, we should have some time. Kansas State today has not penetrated the Nebraska 31-yard line. That's how impressive this defense is here today. Getting close. Beasley coming down the sideline, but his receiver intercepted. Momentum carried him on in to the end zone. I believe they're talking about spotting it at the 1-yard line. That's what they did. Ball will be spotted at the 1-yard line as Eric Warfield has now blocked a punt and intercepted a pass, and still K-State has not penetrated the 30-yard line.
At the bottom of your screen was the free safety. The pump move pulled the safety in the direction of the throw because he pumped in the direction he wanted to throw rather than pumping the opposite direction as I saw it from here. And that really gave Warfield the jump on the football.
Well, Nebraska, we've talked about the possibility of winning a national championship with only one defeat. And we'll watch here now as Matt Turman gets ready to see what he can do about bringing the clock down. They don't want to make a mistake down here. Turnover could lead to an easy K-State touchdown or a safety. And they run ahead with Ben Kingston. So what's very important to Nebraska is their schedule. Now in the Big 12. After today's victory, of course, they'll move to 3-1. Baylor, good football team. They must come to Lincoln. Tough job. Beware of Texas Tech. Spike Dykes does an outstanding job with limited personnel. Kansas comes in with a pretty good team. Who knows what Oklahoma have by then. Missouri, Iowa State. And then, of course, there's the game with Colorado. But again, it is at Lincoln. So if they just stay focused, yes, the Huskers can make their way back, win the North Division, get to the title game. With Kingston now carrying the load, that's what's important.
And see, the other advantage Nebraska has, they've had many, many leads, Brent, and all these players that are playing now gain experience. So all of a sudden down the road in a big game, they've got to go with a backup player. He's played some football already this year.
You take a look at the South, who might win there. Well, Texas has struggled out of confidence, but look, they're 1-0 in the Big 12. Texas A&M only 0-1. Baylor, Texas Tech. So very much up in the air. Texas Tech's loss came right here in a wild opener against K-State. Thurman on the option, steps out of bounds now at the 13-yard line, and it's a first down Nebraska.
What they're doing with that, they get in 2 tight ends and 2 wide outs, and they check the defense in option in the direction they want to go, and they're going toward the safety back off the ball, so they get a slower run for us. Tight ends are doing a good job. There's good game planning there by Frank Solich and, of course, Tom Osborne and the staff.
So the senior with a little PT here in Manhattan, Kansas. And just using his fullback right straight ahead. How about Matt Turman? Jack, pretty good story, isn't he?
Well, Brent, remember, he's the guy that replaced the guy that replaced the guy last year. First Tommy Frazier goes down, and then the late Scott Behringer goes down. Turman comes in, a walk-on, and he is able to go ahead and win the game. But the knock on Turman has been his size. He's only 5'11", and the coaches feel that he can't see the passing lanes without moving. But he says, hey, when is a passer at Nebraska dropped back to make a pass?
Exactly. Well, of course, Jack, I know you were referring to the late Brooke Behringer, whom we have talked about. You and I were talking about him, and his number by the helmets was certainly one of the more tragic stories to come out of college football. There's the number 18 you can see on the back of the players' helmets. Young man, his own pilot. We all are very aware of the story and that tragic crash close to the NFL draft. And he was a young man that folks in Nebraska cared a lot about, and they should have. He was an outstanding young man. And now Turman turns around and close to another first down here at the 2:35 mark.
Scott Frost sitting on the bench. You know, when we visited with him yesterday, he said he really feels he's starting to get a feel of this offense, and he demonstrated it in some ways in the running game and handing off, but they did a good job of defense in the option.
Sims buttoned up at the 20-yard line. He too is out of Omaha. Awful lot of great football players coming out of there now as our population grows. Find more good players spread around the country, certainly more so than you used to. Limit on scholarships helps a school like Kansas State come through and field a good team. But Nebraska has truly dominated this series through the decades. Come down inside in 2 minutes. Well, we're going to give the Chevy MVP to Nebraska to the freshman, D'Angelo Evans. 21 carries, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns, 69 yards, and 5 yards. And then on the other side, Dick, you think Travis Oaks, number 50, has played a whale of a game, and he's come back from an injury.
Yes, I think he's played awfully well there. And when he was out of there, they took advantage of that spot and attacked that outside linebacker position. And he came back in the second half and picked up the tempo again. I think he's an excellent football player. So
Chevrolet donates $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Herman firing, and it's complete. That'll stop the clock. First down at the 35-yard line. You know, another thing here as we close out this sad day for Coach Snyder and Kansas State, playing this game with a heavy heart, of course, with their defensive coordinator having been hospitalized earlier this week. But we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the president here at Kansas State, John Weefald, who brought this man in as head coach. He's the one who originally said we can turn this football program around. And despite what happened here today at the hands at Nebraska, you've got to take your hats off to Kansas State. I think all Nebraska fans would say that too. That it's been a long time coming down here, and it's just great to see. They'll regroup. Not as bad as you look when you lose one like this. Nebraska fans, of course, they're on the roll again, thinking, can we three-peat? This is a big step here today, and let's hope that Amon Green's injury is not serious. Also, you want Damon Benning healthy again. And now Sims bust free, running with big-time authority to the 42-yard line. And we bring down the final seconds on a Cornhusker win here in Manhattan, Kansas. Nebraska moves to 3-1. So Coach Snyder comes across the field now. We'll shake hands with Coach Osborne. So we will come back with the thrifty car rental post-game report. Nebraska wins it 39-3.